just quite yet. Spots him on top. Easy pop. Godby actually taking out his own man with the Molotov.
Flush out Etamu as well. And now 4 a.m. rather, in a little bit of a shambles type situation. Down to Godby and HS, who's still off in the distance. Godby, I don't even think he's managed to find any heals. No, he's got nothing, but he's got a face full of shotgun shells as T1 cleans up.
All right, HS looks like he's decided that discretion is the better part of valor, trying to get out of there. This is not inside the safe zone, but all of T1 knows exactly where HS is going to be at. Can he defend up? Can he get away? Looks like he's got himself a good angle. Does get the knock onto one. Gets some damage back on a type, but there's just too many members for T1. He is too disadvantaged up here. He has to retreat.
That was a really nice job there by HS, though. Slow things down for T1, if nothing else. As the long grenade going to come in. That would have been good had HS not been on his, had his Nikes tied up real tight. And now Heather has the grenade in hand, but he has no idea that HS has dropped down. They know now.
Yeah, there's a couple of shots. HS doing a good job on really annoying him. I mean, at this stage, if he can just drag out T1 and force them to be late to the circle, that's a benefit just to kind of slow down the pacing and punish T1 for this. I mean, that's really what you're looking at with Hot Drop, to make it as hard as possible. And right now, Point Agreement don't have a lot, but they do get another knock.
Oh my goodness, HS almost up to 400 damage now just by himself. There you go. Heather will finally take him out, and T1 once again will win the battle for Yesnaya's type. Gives him the dab.
I mean, that's a pretty clean start on the Hot Drop if you think about it.
Oh, getting another one. Dab on him, type. Let him know. All right, well, you saw in the kill feed as well, there was another little scrap going on. This was on the north side of the Georgia Pole Bridge where VP and I believe it was Theraton 5. There's a kerfuffle going on up there. There's VP, Furia, Theraton 5, Forest, and soon to be Day Trade all hanging out on the north side of that Georgia Pole Bridge. And meanwhile, Begapa, they have run into Twisted Minds here just north of Pachinki.
Yeah, this is
a full 4v4 too.
This is a peculiar fight for this stage for both of these teams. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they just both rotated in pretty close to each other. But Two Heart has been a very strong performance coming up from Begapa, and a lot of their successes have hinged off of some of his flank maneuvers that he's managed to pull off. He has to be careful. He does have Lou that's going to be pretty close to him, but Lou looks like he's got his eyes set more into the west, whereas Two Heart's kind of a bit more to the south.
Speaking of a menace, Lou showing out in a big way during group stages last time around, stepping up at a time when it is very rare that we get an opportunity to say this, but Example kind of underperforming. And here we go. This is what we were talking about earlier. Day Trade coming in to that VP split. They're going to trade right off the bat as Beamy will go down after taking down Flash.
Both sides like, okay, wait a minute. I think we might need to see if we can get a reset on maybe some heals. Going to have to be cautious with it. Another nade's going to be coming out pretty close to Eevee, but he's going to step forward.
Okay. Well, Flash still down. Now a second one's going to go down as Ibby gets spotted out by Belmoth. Now Lucarux in the vehicle might be going for the reposition, might be just leaving altogether as VP. They might have given up on this. Nixie now the last player left alive to try to 1v1 what's left of Day Trade.
Now then, just using this hillside, it's going to be Day Trade up on top. Tigger does go down. Lots of damage.
There you go, Nixie.
Stepped in. Can he get the flush onto it? That's what he's going to commit into. Now it's going to be all the other members for Day Trade. Are they going to just go with a couple of nades, or are they going to try to get out? Looks like they might be eyeing just to try to get out. Lucarux's position just too strong.
And now Lucarux, went for the flanking position. Finds Flash, finds Thanadol. Belmont, the last one alive. Can he escape with 17 HP left in the bag? No helmet to speak of. Nixie will lay down the smoke wall, try to heal up before engaging in this peak battle.
Belmoth run away? No, Belmoth has new goals. He's like, you're going to go after my friends? Can we see if he gets the meds back up? Is he just going to make the full run? There you go, but it's going to be enough time for Lucarux to spot him. He had to stop off, go for the meds. That's a good headshot. Can he cross the top of the hill? Day Trade narrowly escaping.
Oh, boy, okay. Well, they will survive, and VP, they'll collect a couple of points for it, but they do lose Ibby and Beamy in the process. So Luca up to 3 kills, and now they're going to have to fight their way down from the north. Remember, once again, Furia, Theraton 5 still playing around the north side of that bridge section.
Okay, T1 does find themselves an emergency pickup. That's really big for them to be able to manage to get into the circle. There's not a lot really happening on the eastern edge of the zone, though. Yeah, right back behind where the leaderboard's at. There's nobody over there. Rozhawk, open, school, open, boatyard. New circle pops, leans into the west, so Everest is going to be a core component, but also all of Georgia Pool at Georgia Pool Bay.
Okay, see a number of teams on the move. It looks like Navi trying to reconnect as we get a little bit of a replay here with that 4 a.m. T1 hot drop. Took a little bit longer this time around, but in the end, T1 coming out ahead, keeping all 4 players alive this time. And that, I mean, that was huge. Raining with the godly flank, and then the instant collapse from the rest of the team. Very, very well played by T1. And got to give HS credit, though, man. He gave them all they could handle in the end.
I mean, that sneaky angle on top, if he'd managed to get that secondary knock, give it to him.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Well, T1 making their way in via e-pickup. They got to have to find a place to play now. Everest is the western part of Everest actually kind of open here. So Theraton 5 has 2 on top, but 2 down in South George. So and they are playing kind of towards the center, even a little bit to the east of center. So if they wanted to, they could, but it looks like they're just going to keep on going and play all the way. Oh, maybe not. They're going to drop now, and they are going to go towards the hospital where Forest is in a bit of a, well, I think Forest down to 2, so this could be bad news if T1 gets caught slipping, but look at all the bullets coming in their direction here.
I mean, it's hospital. It's still a very defendable type. It's going to make Landfall right on top. That roll is going to come at a bad time. Scappy's going to pick that up. Him and Baron both. Baron's going to be a bit lower down. Does hear the footsteps. T1 just jumping essentially from the frying pan into the fire. It is just fight and fight and fight for them all day so far, just off this first game. It's going to be EN down, Heather Raining now the last 2 up. So in a 2v2, but they are the aggressors in a defended position.
Gotta say, that was a really ambitious drop there for the E-pickup for T1 to be as split up as they were. They managed to lose 1. They might be able to get the res onto EN, but it looks like he's just bleeding out. Yeah, he's gone. Forrest will get the credit for that one as Heather and Raining now trying to flush out what's left of Scappy and Baron. As Baron using whatever utility he can find to slow things down.
And that hallway that you can see that Scappy's playing down is really awkward to push. So that's why we saw them shift low ground, defend around the outside of it, use the hallway. T1 knows that they're kind of cornered. You can see that they do not want to push that hallway. It's just a death trap, especially given the fact that really down below it, you can kind of sneak out and find a new angle and take a couple of pot shots through the window. Continuation of what's going on with Begapa as well as Twisted means the fact that Twisted is in pretty decent control of the firefight for now.
Looks like they might have had a 1-1 trade there. Lou and Two Heart being traded out, and Songjang has been just spotted. He is cornered like a rat as the utility is going to keep coming in, but Batu going to go down to a good grenade from Songjang as he works his way up to the roof. Example and Perfectix, they're on the clock. They've got to get rid of this guy. Park Pro going for the res on a 2 Heart.
Yep, that's what I was about to say is Park Pro has managed to come in, is trying to do the damage control, does get 2 Heart back up, so Songjang doing a great job on just surviving. That little ledge that he's playing on the outside will buy him some time.
Yeah, I had the microphone away from me. My bad.
With Lou being down in that spot, though, not a lot of information being able to be fed back over.
Yeah, it's not about me. It's about the game, you know?
Finds themselves a bit more contained and trapped. This is going to be a very difficult push for Twisted, specifically trying to find the angles where they can really approach to come after Begapa.
It'd be interesting to see. I don't know if Lou was able to feed the intel over to the rest of the boys. Nice blue zone grenade will force Batu to move once again as they are taking already some damage. And there you go, Park Pro will get the knock onto Example as we see a number of fights starting to kick off here. This is all going on the south side of the new zone, the western part of Everest. A number of teams starting to make their way in, but Example is now down. Can Batu go for this res? Park Pro just dancing around with that grenade.
Yeah, he just wants to spout out 1, has no idea. Songjang's got to feed that information over. He can hear footsteps, but doesn't know exactly. He was expecting it to be on the 2nd story. Instead, everybody from Twisted down on the 1st.
That's tricky.
Does Batu do Perfectix here? This looks like Perfectix does look back around, and I don't know if Songjang could have seen it. I think that there was a smoke down right there for him. Instead, it's all going to be about footsteps. What can he hear? He's going to go for the jump down. Looks into the smoke, goes for a spray. Good play coming out from Songjang.
Boy, Begapa is doing a really good job of getting a read on exactly where these Twisted Minds players are. But Tulins, though, he'll find both. try to go for the heal as Perfectix will bleed out, but at least get the points, but the nade gonna fall just shy. Batu has to stop down to heal up once again, and it is just Two Heart versus Batulins, and Batulins has the hard cover, but Two Heart just rushing down.
But I mean, Begapa has all the information. Multiple members down means the fact that it's going to be Batulins to have to kind of sneak away from all of this. As we start to see everybody bleeding out, that means that finally it's going to be a bit easier for Batulins. There is still Song Chong right next to him, be like, nah, bro, he's right here. So Batulins now firmly in the 1v1, but his position has been revealed. Meanwhile, Two Heart gets any option on approach. Batulins finally knows where the Two Heart's approach is going to be coming from, so this is going to be very, very hard to hold.
Oh, Two Heart. Batu stopping down for the heal before going for the peak battle. Two Heart, I think, will stop down. He's down to half HP. Batu has the pro. Two Heart gets him with the peak. And that is Begapa winning the 1v1, the 4v4 rather.
How did he get past the...
Minds. What a big victory for them.
Circle, as it popped, it did keep Georgia Pole Bay in play, but lost most of Everest. So Furia, 17 Gaming, right on the outskirts of it. Most of our teams are already inside of Georgia Pole itself. We do have VP that's playing up into the north of it. Furia's going to be in kind of over in the crates to the east. T5 is going to be running a bit of a split just to the south of that. Navi do up in the center. Freaks are going to be kind of center down from where Navi is at. And then we've got Geek K down to the due south. T1 that we saw just a second ago looks like they did finish off their fight because Forrest left and went into Georgia Pole south. So with this E-Arena now lined up, but it's just a lot of pot shots, really.
Well, really, I mean, we're all of a sudden down to 37 alive.
But yeah, you're correct. I'm a pro streamer.
Fights. They've just been lasting that long.
True.
And we've lost 2 of the Freaks already. Make it 3 as Lil Ghost is going to spot out Heaven from the high ground, and they're going to make a rush for that spot. Human, the last one left alive, has to defend his fallen teammate against the rushing Bulls. The PGS7 champions will claim this dip as their own.
That gets them into a great spot. I mean, it was Navi that was taking some shots. Geek is also kind of regrouping to the south, but it's going to be T1.
Was nominated for an award?
VP as well as Day Trade.
What kind of award?
Alive. Still alive. He's still in it. VP as well. But, boy, you don't think there's some Navi fans in the chat just pumping their fist in the air right now? They've seen Navi avoid the hot drop, and now they're 4 alive, dead center with the compound. It is looking pretty nice for the boys in yellow.
Yeah, they just have to be very careful as a couple of teams, specifically T5, is running a very large split around them. So if we do see somebody decide to kind of punch down,
excellence above and beyond,
to do that and just say, you know what, I kind of want the center. So good spot onto Fluky to kind of keep him off and away from them for the time being, because this is a very strong position for Navi to be playing.
They call it the Raise Award, but do you actually get a raise?
Car drives. You can just kind of, with those long warehouses, it's really hard to hold every single angle.
Yeah, it's true. At this point, you wonder how many vehicles are even left in the game, as the Kraken, the rest of his team is still over in crates. They sent him over on top of Everest, but he has been spotted out by 17. Should be able to avoid their eyes, though, as he's got some good terrain to work with over there. Geek, meanwhile, I haven't really talked about them. They're still 4 up on the south side, and we get to see how they did it. And apparently, they did it by dispatching with Bestia.
I mean, that's not a bad gig, then.
I mean, oh, that is just, look how filthy, fast and clean that was. At range, Hyruzen.
Is that a coach? That's not a coach.
Coaches could be fraggers.
Oh, man, okay, we see you, Hyruzen. Well,
I mean, Gunner's got gun in his name, right?
That is true. That is true. Nice grenades going over the top, and yeah, Bestia. Unfortunately, they're getting it from every angle, so they go out a little bit early. But Geek down to 3. They have compounded themselves on the south side as our hero Belmoth, all by himself for Day Trade, manages to get the swim across, and oh, Nixie's going to spot this, isn't he? Nixie's looking. They know. I mean, they know that there's still one left alive for Day Trade.
Well, the boat over there too.
Well, the boat kind of gives it away. I don't know if did he take the boat or did he swim?
I'll be honest.
We'll assume he took the boat.
I was busy watching the replay. I didn't see how he got there.
That's fair. Luca Ruck's on the bridge. He spots him out as well, so they know exactly where this guy is. VP, 5 points already. This is I mean, for a bad start here, this is about as good of a bad start as you're going to get. And there you go, another point picked up as they now climb up to 6. Luca Rux, we'll see if he can get out of that blue zone. But at least for now, Nixie's still in.
So with this, VP top for the time being. T1's going to be right back behind that. Then we got 17 that's presently in 4th. Begapa managed to pick up a couple of kills, gotten themselves into a pretty good start off of it. But I mean, 4 points whenever you're looking at what you're trying to hold down for, I guess, your points per game total isn't really where you want to be, but it's not bad either.
We see Luca Rux. This is not a unfamiliar sight. Seeing a member. Oh my God! 30 first aids, Luca Rux. Okay. Well, I mean,
What?
this is not something that we're shocked by at this point, but aids, Luca Rux. Okay. Your sight. Seeing a member. Oh.
How the hell do you carry 30 first aids? I didn't know that was even a thing. 30?
Oh my God, 30 first aids, Luca Rux. Okay. Well, I mean, this is not something that we're shocked by at this point, but Virtus Pro has made a name for themselves out of just chewing up and spitting out. Okay, Xiaowu. That's actually, I think, Hackatory that spotted out of Haven. Xiaowu will get the credit for it, though. So 17, nice little dip for themselves, and 4 kills as we go along with it.
Oh, Posa.
Posa.
That's the wrong neighborhood to jump into. Yeah, he's going to go down.
I don't know.
Easy pick up there. But, I mean, this does slow down.
I mean, he only had 42 rounds, so...
Furia.
He had 42 rounds, no bandages, no...
Kind of in tatters on the edge of the blue.
No,
yeah,
no throwables.
They were kind of stuck out in the shelter. They had no real path in because T5 just had them gate kept. And, I mean, they tried to do the long wrap over the top of Everest, and in the end it didn't really play out, unfortunately, says the Crack. And we'll see if he can survive a little bit longer. But 17 now on the move after leaving
I'm going to, though.
Very comfy and cozy dip that they were playing. It looks like they're going to go into a 3-1 split, but Zakraken going to ride right into it.
That is great timing for Zakraken. I mean, he just snuck this
I'm
one
going to try it now.
Everybody was kind of
this could be a beautiful grenade.
Can he get into position?
Cook it.
Multiple members in, does roll, does get some damage, but doesn't get a knock.
Has he got more? No, that's the only one. That sucks, but it doesn't matter. The vehicle explosion will be the one to get it, but Zakraken will go down in the end to Xiaobei. But Xiaobei and Lil Ghost on their backs right now, and Lil Ghost nowhere near his teammates as he tried to split out, and he runs right into Geeke as Haruzen will go down to Heather, and Quizzy will get spotted as well. PWD, the last alive for Geeke.
T1, high ground advantage, just looking down in the dip. It's going to be on to Xiaowu to try to regroup. He opts the buggy, sends it over there. Looks like his eyes are going to be trying to get a bit more of a control area in front. He wants to go for Lil Ghost. He's going to dive in. That means that with all the smokes down, it's going to be a bit more complicated for T1. Instead, they've got to deal with the closer position lined in. E-Arena has also spotted out T1, so that's going to force them to the other side of the hill. Keep in mind, while all this is going on, we still have Forest, Rock, as well as T5 and VP all in the southern section of Georgia Bowl.
Yeah, they haven't had to make a move just yet, but eventually they will, and Na'Vi is going to be on the clock. They've only gotten 2 kills for themselves so far, but they are in prime position for a victory this round if they can manage to hold their line. As you see, Quizzy and Haruzen haven't been flushed out just yet. T1, after getting into the knocks, maybe just not really in a spot to find the angle. I don't know. I don't know what happened there, but 17, they're back on their feet.
There's just too many angles. Most notably, E-Arena has T1 that's back behind them, and T1 really wanted to crest the hill and finish out what was going on with Cake, but couldn't really get there. 17, using that opportunity, has been able to set themselves up just fine, and this is just going to be... they should have a path into the circle, but with Navi's positioning just in that compound that they were holding down, those warehouses, they're going to start having a lot of vision on everybody cresting the top of these hills.
You see PWD out in the blue, still trying to make his way in. Xiaowu going to hit that nice shot there, and Heather going to be forced to retreat once again. So despite getting the knock on both of those Geeke boys, T1 only getting credit for 1, but that's good enough. That's going to get them up to 6, and now Navi's starting to come alive as Theraton 5 has to go somewhere, and unfortunately that somewhere is right into the path of Na'Vi bullets.
There's just too much control from the Na'Vi position, so that means that everybody else just realizes it's time to sweep the edge of the safe zone. That means that 17 is going to be trying to wrap around to the south, make sure the fact that they can contain where T1 is going to be at. E-Arena is just going to be to the north of T1, realizing the fact that they're a bit vulnerable. I think that they spotted the only 2 members up, but Georgia Pole itself has T5, has Rock, has the remnants of Forest, and Lucarux, all that are going to be stacked up on top of each other. And look, what do? There's going to be so much vision from Na'Vi to contain a lot of these firefights. Rock can't even cross, really, to get over to where T5 is at.
That's what you want to see in the late game. P90 falling right on top of Ferris, but that is a dangerous cop.
Heather?
You're going to go around this. Heather is going to find the E-Arena boys. E-Arena still 4 strong, playing that ridge line, but Heather has them dead to rights as we cut now to that south side of South George, where Rock has an opportunity here to make a statement in the first day of games.
I mean, they've got Scappy that's behind them, and he is just stalled out. I mean, Rock still has like a smidgen of like a corner of a building that's going to be inside the safe zone, but they still need to cross. So with this, DK is finally going to get eliminated. 17 is also going to be looking to try to contain what's going to be going on with T1 as well as the arena. Everybody is now focused in onto them. Heather is still just trying to take some shots before he goes down. 17 Gaming is going to be collapsing right on that hillside. Nades coming out, just rolling down and picking them up for free.
Yeah, Heather going to go down to the blue, and 17 just going to finish Heather's plate for him. He started eating, but the smoke wall just not allowing him to finish his plate, as Jacob, now the last player alive, going to try to run around and avoid the inevitable influx of frag grenades for the time being, but those smokes are dissipating fast, and 17 is looking right down on him, and they'll get the credit for it. Xiaobei will get their 10th kill as our PGS7 champions are coming into PGS8 with 0 signs of slowing down.
And while this is going on, good old Luke Rux just nomming on every single first aid he can find, still alive. 17 trying to cross down, but Ferris does spot him out. Good shots, as well as Luke Rux going down, so that puts us into our top 4. 2 members for 17 down for the time being. Rock sitting on 4, Navi at 4, and it's going to be T5 with 3.
Navi getting a little bit of a vindication here as they're taking out 17. Xiaowu will go down as Xiaobei now spotted out by Ferris, and it's all down to 7-7 as Navi in beautiful position. I mean, this is kind of, well, hey, Ferris did get that P90.
I mean,
of course he did.
It's such a strong position in the circle. You can see how the hills kind of shift down directly into it. So 17 really can't crest the top. Meanwhile, we've got the street that's going to be over to the north where we see T5 and Rock going to be competing for. Really, it just feels like who can jockey for the better position to maybe assault or distract what's going on with Navi enough. But Rock is kind of the odd team out. They have to push their way into T5.
Rock making the push off of the knock. They're going to go ahead and leave Solds behind.
Oh, no,
But that Molotov, ooh, that's going to do a big damage as he will have to stop down here. Santastico definitely would like to improve upon his performance last time. We saw such great things from him at PAS, as 7-7 will go down and 17 will go down in 4th place. And now feels all kind of academic here. Navi might want to start thinking about spreading out from their compound, seeing if they can maybe get in on this fight over here, get some more points.
I mean, kill points are great, but at the same time, Navi is just like, we'll take the victory off of position, man.
I mean, sure, yeah.
Let them fight it out.
13 grenades, man. Come on, you can get a nade range.
I mean, yeah, but it's also like, that's the double side to this, right? Is that it's hard for Navi to run out after them, but they should have been able to spot Rock.
That's
they
fair.
could hear what's going on.
There's also just not much cover. Like no ridge lines, no nothing.
PGS7 didn't go well for Navi, so
well,
they'll just take whatever points they can get.
I mean, that's fair. But no,
it's
I
a
mean,
good start.
look.
We know this is a strong team. I'm not trying to talk bad about them. But, I mean, coming off of a victory after what was happening in PGS7 is big.
Look, all I'm saying is that if Navi gets enough points today, then the next time they play, they can hot drop 17 and Pachinki for free.
No.
I don't know.
Thinking ahead here.
I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. But I've carried 13 or 14 before with ammo and stuff. So
to the blue zone grenades, Patampong.
If you don't carry anything else with you, I'm sure you can carry a lot.
Wall, Navi, they're just completely content to just hang out inside their spot and just look off into the distance and pick off whatever reveals itself.
Everybody out here starving for points. Meanwhile, Navi is like, let them eat cake. Stacked up on top of each other. New circle pops. Shocker. It goes over to Navi. So now Navi is starting to get more on phone.
Oh, there we go.
It's going to be able to spot a couple of them, and that's going to be a full collapse coming out from Rock. Now, Fluky, the last one up. Fluky, what do you want to do? Do you want to go down valiantly, or do you want to take yourself out, use the blue zone? Look at Patampong just trying to get away.
Do they?
Wants to deny out the points. I get the feeling that's what we're going to be seeing for a while.
Not sure who got the knock there. Oh, Patampong. I don't even know who got the knock on the Patampong originally. But Navi now realizing they're in a 4v1. This is looking clean, but nice spray from Fluky. Will get the knock on a Sosed. The follow-up grenade going to fall a little bit short, but Hakatori, he is right in the spot. Fluky, give him too many 1v1s here, Navi.
This is the problem if you leave the compound, right? I mean, Fluky can absolutely unload. There's completely open territory for him to shoot with, but oh no. I mean, Fluky, you're trying so hard and survives yet again. So many throwables coming out, so many explosions, but somehow he's still holding on, and it's a valiant fight, tooth and nail.
He's dancing. He should probably take that. Okay, never mind. Doesn't matter. The grenade's going to find its spot, and Navi, glorious victory after what was a very rough PGS7. They are starting off PGS8 on the right foot.
a much better start, much better momentum coming in, and if anything, it's just great for the mental, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and especially great for the mental when you got the wipe 17 in the process.
And there's a secondary to that.
Good job, Navi.
One also who didn't have the best PGS7, stacked up a lot of kills. Heather was a big performer in that game.
Shit.
Yeah, no, I mean, they win the hot drop with 4 a.m. They end up going for a little bit of an ambitious drop on a hospital, end up losing a couple for it with Forrest, but at the end they still collect a nice little stack of kills for themselves. But in the end, 17 still on fire. I think they had 10 plus kills at the end of the day, but a huge victory for Navi here in game number 1. Let's throw it over to our analyst desk to break that one down and get us ready for game number 2. Times in a row now.
But it is also the beginning of the year, and if you're going to commit into a hot drop, you're going to commit. I mean, how many times are we going to talk about it?
Oh my God!
But I mean, that felt pretty dominant in performance from T1. But we might see maybe 4 Angry Men try to do something instead, drop close to them. Maybe go for the apartments a bit more over to the east and push back in.
Throw a little wrinkle into it.
I mean, that's what you at least have to try, like 2 or 3 different like variations before you go, okay, and then just run with your tail between your legs.
Sure, that's fair. And to be fair, look, this is the last game they're gonna have to worry about it.
True.
Right? Like they're in different groups. They're not gonna have to see each other again until grand final, assuming that both of them make it. And it looks like that's what they're thinking as they are going back once again to
Is it another hot drop?
The Yasnaya apartments.
It is. Another hot drop for Angry Men. And T1 again.
Looks like, well, I don't know. Let's see if there's any shift over, because it does look like, yeah, I do like the idea.
They're doing a little swervy. They're doing a little juking, a little faking, a little pump fakes.
Fade it out. I mean,
it didn't work. All right, they're still going.
They're all going to the same building.
They're going to the same building off the long drop, as well as they both dropping at the same time, trying to make sure that they get there first, but they land there exactly the same time. Gavi with that S12. Longs will find Heather to start things off. Gavi looking around for somebody to shoot, and nobody revealing themselves as Atamu holding the top of the stairs with the AK.
Oh, my fantasy doesn't like seeing Heather die within like a couple of seconds of landing.
Not even a little bit.
4 Angry Men now aligned in, and they have a lot of this on lock. Really, T1 you can see running in near on nothing. Couple of shotguns, 4 Angry Men going for peaks. But can you return it? No, H's.
Oh my God.
Longs. That was brutal.
There we go.
So
that
this, guys, is why you do not land in the same building when you do a hot drop, because it's whoever gets the guns first wins. And yeah,
you know, it's you throw a little bit of an extra element of RNG into a already RNG process, but you know what? At the end of the day, good on 4 a.m. They get the win. 4-piece, didn't lose a single guy. That is clean.
I know, and I mean, just think of it. You gotta have some cojones to be like, you know what? We didn't necessarily go best in the last one, but let's just commit in and let's drop the exact same place right on top of them, because you know what? We could do that better. But I mean, 4 Angry Men, you run on rage, right? You lose the last fight, you hulk up, come back, swing a little bit harder.
And you know what? I'll give them their flowers. That was excellent parachute control on the part of 4 a.m. to make sure that they landed just in front of them. And got all the prime loot before the T1 was able to do so. And meanwhile, we did see the circle pop, and it is going to go half melee, half mainland. We'll see where it ends up going.
And that is a feels bad for T1 as well, because we've all had it happen in PUBG. You land, like somebody's right next to you, and you're like, a gun, and then you watch it evaporate. And then you look to your right, and you're like, oh, another gun. And then another guy runs by, and you grab it, and you're just like, start doing the jump punch, man. Just finish me, baby. Just finish me. GG, go next.
Well, and you know, and it especially feels bad because they had a good game 1, right? Like they win the hot drop and they end up getting 8 kills despite going out a little bit earlier. But you know, that was still a decent start to the day. Now, again, don't have to worry about it for the rest of the day. Right, like they're done. Like that's the last time they have to worry about 4 a.m. in Yaz, as 4 a.m. still just shooting around, letting them know. Yeah, flex your muscles, big guy. You did it.
I'm just
dab on him.
Got to be careful because in this break, avoid Sonic, T1's coach.
Oh yeah,
he's gonna be staring daggers.
Yeah. Well, look. Sometimes you got to just shrug your shoulders and say, look, we know what we're getting into here with this. So sometimes it's gonna go our way. Sometimes, but look at this. I mean, it's great parachute work.
Yeah. I mean, right in, and then just every angle, dude. Every angle.
Oh,
that was actually pretty sexy.
Was that with the SLR?
Oh.
Actually spam SLR that, man. Good stuff. Yep. There you go. They let them know. They look excited about it, too. They're very happy. Well, they've got a little ways to go here. Now, you also start to kind of question, all right, what are we going to do as far as where we go north to south? But we do have an interview with Haruzen.
So this time on PGS 7, it was like a crush for me, but like, what can I do? Just play. I think we weren't like mentally prepared for like loss of a star player, but also we kind of lost a coach because I can't do my job when I'm playing. So right now, I think I personally prepared for PGS 8 way more than PGS 7. Also, we are not in a dev group, so I think it's gonna be fine for us.
He brings up a great point. I mean, that is asking a lot, right, of anybody, especially when you're a coach. But you're not only losing a player, your best player, you're also losing your coach now. That's really, I didn't think about it that way.
5-head, be the breacher, so that way when you die first, you can coach the rest of the game.
Oh, there you go.
See? Now you can do both. Just die early. No, that's a terrible solution.
Strats with Matchroom.
Yeah, I know.
Right here. This is what you're coming for.
There's a reason why I don't coach. Yeah. Mainly because who would want me to fill if somebody got sick, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah, no. I think we might be. I might have better luck on hitting Craigslist. 17 Gaming, they have made their way out of Pachinki, just kind of hugging on the western edge now. Geek still off in the distance, off to the west, and Forest still on the island. Now, interestingly enough, nobody thinking that this thing is going to cut down to the island. Everybody playing around that southern part of the mainland.
I mean, mathematics should go that direction, but the bridge does kind of be an evil problem to work around in some of these situations. We get that shift down that follows it.
I think Forrest is driving through a Geek bridge camp right now, and we'll see what happens as we are kind of looking around different places. It looks like Geek maybe not going to spring the trap there as they're a little bit split, but Freak's going to run right into Bagopod on the top of Death Road.
Yep, Salute better be careful. He is starting to get pretty outnumbered over here. Here you go. This is what you were talking about.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, no losses coming in just yet. We saw a few shots get traded, but yeah, I don't think Geek was in a position really to camp here. They have Haruzen still just south of Pachinki. I think they were just kind of making their way into the zone, and Forrest just happened to come across at the bridge at the same time. So neither team really anticipating this fight. So
Dennis, how you doing, bud?
What happens is Scappy has been taken down, and Kiss is a little bit trapped here.
PWD, I mean, he's got some information, but not much that he can do with it.
Not the tires.
I love the brutal nature of Forrest in the forest popping the tires.
That is devious, dastardly.
Spider-Man one with the trees. Oh, PWD getting a knock onto Kiss. Can you get any follow-up?
That's the problem when you run into these things, you're not really prepared. They had the high ground to make sure that they didn't push, but they couldn't cover all angles, and that was just a really nice grenade there from PWD. And now Forrest, they realize the game is up. They have an option to escape, and they're just going to escape as two.
I mean, interestingly enough, it looks like Forrest is going to be cutting a path maybe for Pachinki Hillside. Hiruzen is over there. Other rotators right now is T5. Yeah. That's coming after the same line for Pachinki. Meanwhile, we've got VP as well as 4 Angry Men. Almost everybody else just playing the southern coastline is, yep.
Okay, we're good. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
He still has all his tires. He's good, right?
Yeah, it's fine. I'm kind of surprised that he held off instead of going for the tires.
I know. You figure he was sitting on his side for a hot minute there. Might have been able to pop something, but here we go.
Turtle
quick
tries
replay.
To roll back over.
Yeah, this is kind of what happened. Yeah, you can see. I mean, the Geek is just kind of like in a looting position whenever Forrest rolls through, and fortunately PWD in a good spot to pick off Scappy, and then Forrest just didn't really have a good setup or a exfil plan for Kiss.
What are you doing today, Paul?
He got stuck in a bad spot. And good credit on Geek for being able to clean that up as quickly as they did.
Oh no, Forrest now over here next to Haruzen, but I mean he's just due middle of Pachinki, so I wouldn't expect him to even get any vision on this. T5 does look like they're going to be wrapping in back behind VP. VP does have some vision on the rotating 4 Angry Men. Meanwhile, down to the south, yes, it's going to be Xiao Wu playing right on the peninsula. It's going to be looking over Ferry Pickup, sorry. And Na'Vi is going to be playing from that point. So really, the team that won the last game versus the team that won PGS 7, very close to each other.
There you go. And as we mentioned before, no teams left on that southern military island. So if we get a dastardly
during your off day, me too, bud.
As has been known,
well, a little bit anyway.
This could be very, very interesting, but I think for now everybody's just assuming it's going to cut off to the north here. Twisted Minds in that 2-2 split.
Wait a minute, we got Bestia running a rough 1-man split all the way across. So just everybody kind of holding down their own thing over into the east. Yeah, I was going to say, if it pops this direction, that means that Day Trade can kind of run through and vulture all of these up. Vinny needs to get inside of his vehicle and go very quickly. Over the west, you can see it's going to be 17 Gaming regrouping, but Forrest is going to be right on top of him. Up to the north, VP is going to be running right through the Freaks. Some big shots going to be coming out from them. T5 is going to be coming up back behind it, while 4 Angry Men going to use this opportunity to run on the opposite side of the Freaks. This has the potential for a bloodbath if really anybody can choose to focus fire.
While that's happening, Bagel Pie able to center up in that farm spot, get everybody there as Na'Vi is going to get everybody from their split position back together. You see 4AM still trying to find a route, a path towards the center of the zone. They're going to go for farm, but Rock already in position, but it looks like 4AM has spotted out the one building that is unoccupied, so they can play this for the foreseeable future.
I mean, the way that farm is split, it can hold down 3 teams.
Absolutely,
so
yeah.
4 Angry Men, good read on this one. This is kind of the outlier building. It doesn't feel good because there is also kind of a footpath approach on the hillside that's going to be over to their east, but, I mean, you can kind of focus in on the defense of that.
It's great until you have to leave. Right?
Well, or if it stays in-game, because then everybody starts just pushing that point.
Sure. Yeah, and it's also going to be very tough to keep those tires alive, as BL will so deftly demonstrate for us right there at Theraton 5. Still on the move. They had a big wide split on that northern side, and right now Patapong going to lead the charge. We'll see where he decides to stop off, but they are coming in way too late for farm, hopefully, and I think they're realizing that now.
T5, I mean, what's your goals? They're running right through the gauntlet. It's going to be Begapal one side, Fury on the other. Now the regrouped Bestia probably going to get some vision depending on how they path in. Instead, going to find this dip. It's a pretty solid dip. I mean,
it's a decent dip.
It's the best you got for right now, and it is the safest stop, except for not being too safe for tires.
Yeah, Furia has kind of a line onto this, as you see Posa demonstrating for us through the eyes of that 6X. And yeah, Ranger X, I think, realizing, okay, let's drop the vehicle just a little bit lower. That is great map knowledge there displayed by Theraton 5, just knowing exactly what the sight line for Furia is. And they should be pretty safe for the time being, it looks.
Well, we did see a pretty decent amount of farm games looking through what was going on
yeah,
with PGS 7. I mean, we did see them kind of shift over here. We also played around Death Road a bit. So teams, fresh memory, should have an idea on how they want to play this one. Couple of big updates is the fact that we do have GK that's playing down to the south, still on Military Base Island itself. So with the bridge still in play, that's fine for the time being. Twisted is also playing over into the northwest. They're making an approach still pretty close to the Freaks, but the Freaks have control over all of Death Road. Issue is, it's so close to the edge of the zone. I mean, unless we see a couple of hard shifts, it's going to be kind of interesting to see how they rotate out of that.
Let's see what we got.
Ooh.
That's a handy-dandy little item here, as you see. Yeah, Theraton 5 still in very, I mean, you gotta know the lines of sight, right? Too hard. I don't know how he finds that angle, but did get the knock, but the res should come through, so Theraton 5 will be back up to 4, but a little bit busted as you look at helmets and armor.
And do a backflip, go ahead and pop that one up. Looking back over where that Lynx was, yeah, Begapod could kind of get to it, but I mean, with Rock and 4 Angry Men so close, Na'Vi also pretty close. Leaving the comfort and safety of a building right now.
Yeah, I don't think you go for that. I don't think you go for that right now.
But at the same time, it's so close to their building.
It is. Oh, my goodness.
Okay. We were talking about the potential for a bridge. Looks like we are going to be leaning into that. We do have shark fin, so everybody up to the north, that means it's going to be Forest, Twisted, it's going to be the Freaks, Furia, VP, all need to collapse in. That farm situation also needs to be handled as Begapa. Odd team out inside of farm. GK on the inside track. They are going to go right for gas station, and that is going to be a great pickup. Almost due center. Day Trade going to shift over. They're going to be on the eastern side, right along that peninsula leading into the bridge.
Man, sometimes having your coach be your player as well, working out a treat, is Haruzan doing great calls there for GK. Coming around from the south, taking that long route. paying off dividends as now 4 a.m. trying to rotate in, and nice shots from Xiaobei will force Jacob to pull back. E-Arena not in a spot really to combine their forces here. They're 2-2 splits on north side of the road.
I mean, it's just a shooting range right now for everybody that's running into it. I do want to point out the fact that we also do have the Freaks that called an emergency pickup, but Twisted already spotted it out. We might see Twisted be absolutely capable of just running and mowing all of these guys down on the Freaks right as soon as pickup happens. While this is going on, though, you can see the 4 Angry Men full on damage control. Everything is popping off next to them, but they at least got a good position in the circle. If they can hold it for now, do the Freaks know that Twisted is coming? They had to have heard the vehicles at this point. Emergency pickup looks like they might be pulling off of it. They can't make too much of a commit, and there you go. Lou is going to spot out Deal.
Yeah, this might have been a bait from Freaks as they must have heard something because the helicopter arrived and they were already spread out, ready to take the fight, but Lou will get knocked and flushed as Salute will get credit for that one. A number of fights still kicking off on that eastern side as it looks like Daytrade going to pick up a kill. DNF, though, and Twisted looks like they're going to separate from each other. Perfectix already down by the coast and close to that ferry pier location, spotting out the next move for Twisted Minds.
I mean, he should have an idea that somebody's going to be down near ferry, but at the same time, it's Forrest who's kind of a bit weakened over here. This circle, I love these types of circles.
This is rough, man.
I mean, there is near on no territory. Still sitting at 54. Respect to the players for finding something. But now Freaks, Twisted, and Furia, all no more emergency pickups, and you just got to brute force your way into the circle. Furia realizes there are a few options, so it is just time to go, and it is going to be hard push the whole way.
Oh, this is rough for Furia. They have just no better options. They got to push right into the teeth of Theraton 5. Immediately, they're going to lose Gizera. Their top fragger Haven going to try to survive a little bit longer, while Patapong is going to get spotted out by Zakraken. Good shots from the backside there, as Zakraken kind of holding that anchor position from range, but Posa gets knocked low. And meanwhile, Freaks are going to run into Na'Vi. Salute in heaven, dismantled. Guman still alive.
Just got to send it through. No other options. And while Guman does shift down, that means it's going to be Twisted that spots him out. He just has to continue to run for the hillside. But there is no hillside. There is just water in front of him. That also means that 17 is going to spot him out. And there goes his vehicle running off into the blue zone.
As 17 collects another point there, the vehicle. Goodbye, Sweet Prince. We'll see you later. New circle does pop, and it is going to favor more of the land, but it's still about 40% unplayable with a lot of water still involved, a lot of coastline left to play here. Where do these guys on the north go? Na'Vi, they have a spot. They have a foothold inside, but they've got their Twisted Minds just off to the side, and then 17 also kind of have eyes.
Bestia looks like they're just making a push right into E-Arena split, trying to see if maybe they can exploit that fast enough. Twisted does have to fight their way through, as Bestia does manage to make landfall inside the building. Looks like it's going to be Lyrics up on top. Push coming around. Mime gets spotted, but he is going to be a quick turnaround onto it. So E-Arena, how do you want to defend in? And VP, this could be your opportunity. You hear that firefight, you can jump in, and yeah, looks like they're going to go ahead and hop in the vehicle, see if they can send it down themselves.
Oh, he's going to wish he had that one back. E-Arena down to 2, but we've seen E-Arena be knocked down to just a few players many times in the past, and they are still deadly and dangerous as Virtus Pro. They're 4 up. They have been taking their time and just waiting for everything to play out. They are savants of playing the blue and finding that timing to come in perfectly as they will see E-Arena, or hear E-Arena, but you can hear just peppering of shots coming around that compound.
Here's a new push in, as it is going to be Begapa hopping inside their vehicles. They're just going to have to come just a couple meters down. That's all they can do. 2-2 split over into the west for Na'Vi as well as Rock. I mean, Akan just going to send it through. He says, okay, let's see how much of this I can buy. And using the distraction, what's going on with VP and E-Arena over there, he actually gets way more space than I was expecting.
I'm pretty sure I think Forrest just took the actual ferry and jumped off of it underneath the bridge. That is some forehead play there from Forrest as they keep 2 alive, find their way into late game. But 4 a.m., despite having just a hard road, they've lost HS, but they still got.
This is a nasty circle right here, by the way.
Great position in this zone, as now Na'Vi,
especially for comp play, this is a nasty circle for comp.
Begapa finally leaving their position.
Yeah, this is odd for Twisted, so they're going to have to run in off of that. Additionally, I mean, we have the continual situation of we have day trade that's over into the eastern area, while we also have, it's going to be GK that's going to be right next to them. So while this firefighting is going on over into the north and kind of stalling out, it also means that there is a lot of utility and a lot of armor and meds being burnt in this northern area. While the people are playing right along the bridge, they're just watching and hearing these firefights, and they're going to come in with way better economy.
Example, just surviving a little bit longer here in the blue zone, as Twisted Minds will, well, they're not going to get into placements by any means, but
this is
just kind of a survival mode here. Let's see if he can get a little bit more. He's got 11 first aid, so he might be able to pull it off for a little bit longer, but Perfectix, yeah, he's dead on the shark fin as the new circle does pop, and again, still good percentage outside of the, or off the coast. A lot of water still in there. 17,
look at Tigger's position. Nice. He's right up next to Forrest, who just crossed over the bridge. 17 with that regroup. They should have an inside track. Because realize there's also a lot of field. While we do still have a lot of water, there's a lot of field still inside the circle as well. So 17 looks like they're just going to try to, yeah, 17's going to try to sneak their way over and just use the coastline. I still think in the north, this is going to be really hard pressed to make a way in the circle.
Yeah, Navi's got some work to do here. Navi has a lot of work to do. As BrokeGamersTTV, they've managed to get a con inside the zone, but the rest of the three are just hiding behind a ridge for the time being, as just wandering eyes everywhere. Rock, once again, finding themselves in a good compound here towards the late game. We'll see if they can pull something off this time around. As 17, they're going to send OO to the middle. Yeah,
that's big. He finally managed to get past the low section where people don't have sightline in. So
there you go.
He at least has a safety position, and they lost, I think, 1-2 members just trying to get to this point.
They did. They did indeed. 3 kills for 17. Xiaowu still left at the compound as Geek is just staring daggers over in his direction. You see Quizzy landing a shot there.
Geek went back for him?
I mean, I guess so. That's maybe the play. I'm not sure here. I mean, otherwise, he's dead to rights, right? There's just not really anything you can do.
But he was in the circle.
He was.
I mean, I'll have to see. Oh, 17.
Oh, now Navi.
They spotted out Navi. Maybe that's what they want to go for. They want to go for the kills instead. Navi's just going to roll in. That's one already down. Navi, this isn't even inside the safe zone just yet. Instead, it was just going to be how they managed to mount their position going forward. But no! It is now just down to 7-7, and he is in some trouble.
He is in a lot of trouble. 17 HP, not going to be enough, as Navi will clean up. They will lose one in the process. Stade will go down. He's going to get picked off by Haruzen, so that's another point picked up for Geek. And now Navi down to 3. They have to find a way to work the beach here. They're going to be in a similar situation that 17 was just in.
Example's trying to get his way into the circle.
Can
he do it?
Can he make it?
Can he do it? Yeah, park it in the garage.
He's in.
Nice and clean. The problem is you still got a ways to go, buddy.
Yeah, you still got a little ways to go. But he's
New healing spot.
Yeah, well, he's only got 1 first aid as well. So, yep, back on the move once again. See if he can maybe snake a point from somebody in the blue. Unfortunately, there's just nobody left out there. Akan has made it in for BrokeGamersTTV. The rest of BrokeGamersTTV, all 3 of them just dying out in the blue. There's no vehicles to speak of for that squad, so they just kind of got screwed there.
I mean, it's also still the fields, right? There's just 2 open of sight lines, so even if you do have a vehicle, what do you do?
There you go, Beam.
I mean, see what you can get. Examples, at least farming up some damage, see if maybe he can get a knock or something out of it. Going to be 6. One more tick, and don't want to give over the point, so good night, Sweet Prince. You are now out. Navi's got their foothold in, but I just still have my eyes on Day Trade, who's had a lot of information playing over into that eastern coast.
I mean, yeah, I'm still looking at Forrest. I've got high hopes for this duo. That's a good. That's where 4 a.m. is, in the dead center, in the middle of fields where they can see everything. They're already just sending shots downrange towards VP.
They bought that spot with blood, though.
I mean, truly, they surely did. And it's well earned, as they lost HS in the process. VP will not take any knocks there, and that's a nice step in the right direction. And Luca and Nixie just kind of looking off in the distance while Ibby and Beamy try to find a foothold. Nurin's really kind of the only thing that's going to cause them a problem. But Day Trade still as well. Day Trade, Flash and Belmoth just still working around those ridges on the beach side. And of course 4 a.m. I mean, that's just a turret emplacement at this point, right?
All right, Navi trying to do what 17 did a little while ago. Looks like they have a cleaner approach though, without kind of having GK a bit more caught up on what's going on the hillside. So they do manage to get their spot.
2 vehicles helps.
Yeah, I mean, Rock also going to look like they're going to have to make their push out, but it's going to come at a bad time because, I mean, Navi has already kind of got a point. Good nade coming up from Nurin's.
Oh, my goodness.
2 members for VP down.
That is a problem,
Nurin's. Day Trade. Day Trade wants this.
Day Trade trying to make the push into Nurin's compound, and Nurin's just laying out everything. He's got all the explosive ordnance in the world, and it's got VP's name on it. Beamy now the last one alive, as his teammate Nixie starting to bleed out here, but now Day Trade crashing into Nurin's compound, so maybe VP can get this res back up.
Okay, Nurens just has to run all the way up to the top of the compound.
Oh,
now they're
come on, those utilities got to be better, man.
Keep it going. Bounce. It's gonna be on the opposing side. Actually, no, does connect enough with Blue Zone to finish that out. So Day Trade. Whoa!
Okay.
Beamy counter knock on Nade. Flash and Belmont both down.
Beamy said, I am rezzing my teammate. You stop throwing your stupid utility over here and missing the window completely, Belmoth. I'm going to make you pay the price for that one. And now Nixie's on his feet. Beamy's got another grenade ready to go. Here it comes. Will it land where it needs to? Oh, it's going to be just a little bit outside.
Okay, so is that enough? Nixie's going to run across, but Tigger, he has the defensive line set. Smoke Hat and fully plumed. Molotov's going to come through, though. Is it? It didn't connect with Belmont right up against the wall. It might have been just a bit too far. While this is happening, though, with that firefight, did mean the fact that Big Khan has managed to sneak into the circle. Force still holding position down on the south, right next to GK. That means that Navi as well as Rock have had a couple of bullets being exchanged. This is the key component firefight, though, because this is the spot that can assault potentially into 4 Angry Men's position.
All right, let's see if Day Trade can get rid of Beamy quickly and efficiently without taking any more knocks. Beamy has a little bit of wall to hide behind, and I think they know that. Yeah, their utility's going to fall right on top, but I think they might be out after, just missing every single thing that they try to throw at that window. I think they might have a molly that's going to land just a little bit too long, so Beamy should be safe once again.
To the window, to the wall.
To the windows, to the walls.
Oh,
and to Beamy,
Day Trade.
to one day Beamy falls.
That was good.
I think GK leaving their compound, but I think they now are aware of Force, so yeah, they're going to get the knock on a Baron. Now Olympus, the last one left, as he hides amidst the cliffs.
Looks like Day Trade has decided they don't really want to deal with Beamy anymore. The way New Circle pops, they're going to wrap back down around this gas station position. So, with the shots going in between, there you go. GK does win it out. Kill a piece between the two of them. Now sitting at 6. They have to contend with Na'Vi, though. Na'Vi still has the A-Rock squad up to the north of them. And Day Trade, though, look at this, man. They're on their roaming pattern, and this is whenever Day Trade feels so strong. Whenever they start bouncing between points that they know are safe, it gets scary.
Yeah, this is going to be tough, and they left Tigger on that north side, keeping eyes over towards Beamy, as Day Trade just kind of working around. Flash getting knocked very low here, so Gike realizing that they were getting backfilled, and Haruzen on time with the grenades, doesn't get the knock. Navi at some point lost Ferris as well, so they're just down to 2. And Gike doing their best to avoid that line of sight from Navi. And that actually might be providing them some defense here.
Day Trade actually left Tigger back behind with Beamy while this is going on. This is so cool. So Virtus Pro does get eliminated. Blue Zone's going to take him down. Tigger hops inside of the vehicle. He's going to run right over here to try to support Akan. Still just trying to creep his way in. I mean, not a lot of good options, but he can maybe distract 4 Angry Men enough for, Tigger to regroup. So that's a ton of members for Day Trade now looking down onto GK. And, man, what do you do?
I'll tell you what you do. You get everybody together and you hold on to that high ground as long as you can. Take shots over towards 4 a.m. Navi trying to make a push into Rock, but Rock, ready as Santa, will find the knock onto Hakatori. But it's going to get won't get stolen away. Well done there from Santastico to make sure he picked that one up. As RBM will take a knock. We get to see a late game Rock once again. Haven't seen that very often.
In 4th place, thank you very much.
There you go.
I mean, they have kind of been it's been a struggle over here, let's be honest. This has been where the death funnel is at, and you can see it's just stuff raining down on top of them time and time again, but they still manage to hold together. Day Trade does manage to take out K at range, but that means that Day Trade going to continue. Looks like they're going to go ahead and hop in a vehicle, and the assault going to put them in a position to where they can try to gatekeep out what's going on with Navi as well as Rock both.
Seems like they've been doing a lot more work than it shows on paper here. Only 5 kills for Day Trade so far, but they still have all 4 players left alive playing from the south side of the circle. And now you got to imagine their position is fantastic, as now Rock and 4 a.m. are going to have to square up because there's nothing but field in between Day Trade and the rest of the lobby.
4 Angry Men now starting to get the nades out, see if they can connect. RBN keeps the fancy footwork up. One of the nades goes a bit too far, so 4 Angry Men Looks like it's going to be another battering salvo while Day Trade gets control over all of the circle. They have some high ground as well. It's going to be flashed. It's going to be trying to referee what's going to be going on in these fights. Rock just has to lay down. They can't even go for any peeks. There's just too many angles that Day Trade has onto him. But Rock, you've got to defend this at a certain point. A lot of utility coming out. That bounce on the nade almost lands on RBN's head, but explodes right before it hits.
These grenades are just awful. I'm sorry. Like, you got to go back to the training range on those. As I mean, they should have had them absolutely dead to rights. 6 grenades. They had them pinned. They weren't even looking. They were on their bellies. And they just everything missing now. RBN going to get spotted out from range. And now Day Trade should be able to get the res on a flash as the blue is slowly creeping up behind. Thanadol will pick him up and get him in and get him just before the bleed out comes through. And you can't forget about Sosed. He is hanging out just on that beach ridge line.
Oh, and now it's going to be 4 angry men. They finally crawled close enough to be able to do some damage with their guns, so feeling better about that, but God V did go down. So said, he's got a weird angle. It depends on how Day Trade wants to step in, but, I mean, Day Trade has so much control with this little lip coming up from the beach line. So said's just going to opt into full defense mode. I mean, he's got multiple layers of defense.
Why not? Why not? Stick around, see if you can get a little bit lucky here. Godvy's not going to get rezzed. He's going to bleed out.
Who's going to take this win? Day Trade? Day Trade's going to take it?
Down on utility. No smokes to be found. Sosen with the spray.
Good job, Navi.
Find 2, but he gets taken down in the end as Day Trade will get the win in match number 2.
All right, I'll be right back.
I love how they played along that peninsula line once we started seeing the bridge be a core component of the circles. That's the way that this squad plays, where they can get.
They get here early for warming up. I think it's no longer a story. I'm used to an APAC having teams that are like superstar driven. Day Trade feels like it's developing into a true 4-man roster.
Yeah, the whole region, I would say as well, to be honest with you. Like, if you look across all of these rosters, constantly just power, power, power. As they look at the overall standings here, Na'Vi really does set themselves apart already after just 2 games. And it's even placement, even kills. Give them a chance, and Na'Vi will prevail.
I mean, this is one of those things. We talked about them all last year. They had this big change with Diffex's departure, and they look like they're getting their feet back under them. And I think that they've always had a lot of young talent. Hackatory, obviously an incredible fragger that I think has maybe fallen off radar because of the kerfuffles they spent PGS 7 in. So not surprised to see them doing well. 17 Gaming in 3rd place. These are the defending champions. Honestly, on a really good track already to sort of head into the grand finals, looking really good.
Definitely. So that's how the leaderboards do shape up at the moment. Few teams floundering towards the bottom, but again, we're only 2 games deep out of their 12-game campaign here for all of these, all said and done. With Twisted Minds and DM Freaks not having the best of starts, I'm not too concerned just yet.
No.
However, you know, if teams like Na'Vi continue to do what they're doing, soaking up a lot of these points, that then means that the threshold, in theory, down the line, we already saw it in the previous ones, becomes a lot lower.
Yeah, I mean, PGS 7 was wild in terms of thresholds and sort of what to expect out of that one. It seems like we might be seeing something shake up there. I will also say, Na'Vi has started to run with it, and this could be a more classic PGS where we see 1 or 2 teams break out at the top and just start dominating those points, which again creates a real mess at the bottom, because that means if you don't have a good day 1, you're going to find yourself the next time you take the field struggling to catch back up.
All right, well, we're going to go to a break. When we return, we have got more from PGSA. It's the wildcard maps. Don't go anywhere.
Powered by the most advanced wind force cooling system, reducing temperatures while your competition sweats. For the flagship Aorus Extreme Water Force, premium liquid metal for GPU delivers up to 10 times better heat transfer efficiency and is accompanied by multiple layers of protection. This is the Gigabyte GeForce RTX 50 series. Play hard, stay cool, feel the chill.
2,000 years long, we will never settle. Hard days, no way, we're the heavy metal. Real live mainstays, tear it up, like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. We won't stop.
Ni hao, I'm Tiger and Lilik.
No, Lilik.
Welcome back, everybody. Once again, Erangel is in the books, and now we are ready to head over to Tego. I'm Porosaurus. Joining me once again is Matchroom. And now we've got 17 with a win, Day Trade with a win. Who's going to be next here on Tego, Matchroom?
I mean, it's Tego. Like, why are you going to throw that one at me? It's like, what?
I love
I
putting
don't
you on
know.
the spot.
Yeah, before we even see a circle or any idea what's going on. Matt,
Just
what do
pick a
you
team.
think?
Pick a team. It'll be fine.
T1. There you go.
Okay,
T1.
there you go. T1's going to get. Well, I mean, I think if you look at the way things are playing out so far, Navi might not be a bad choice either. They leave the hot drop, and all of a sudden they remind everybody why they are one of the best teams in the world.
I mean, Navi and their control in game one was just good. I love the fact that, yes, they even went after kills, but whenever they secured a point off of it, 17 has had a good start as far as everything going is moving forward. As really, though, I was very impressed with how fast we were seeing shifts coming out in that last game, because that was a very brutal set of circles that just continued to push along that coastline, and that bloodbath up in the north was just so hard to handle coming down from Death Road Farm.
It was a really tough one to play. We'll see if this one is any better as we are ready to jump into the plane, jump out of the plane onto the pastures of Tego. And is a dead center plane. Everybody's ready. They're hyped up there, shouting off in the back there, ready to come in here.
APAC players being loud and hype?
Who would have thunk?
No.
Right? Who would have thunk?
But I always love, like, that's one of the things I love about them is, man, they're always so happy, excited to be involved in stuff. And, like, anything, like, even during the breaks, they're, like, listening to music and just, like, vibing together. And they're like, hey, you know, it was the best game. Doesn't matter. Let's go.
I want to know what song. Do they have the break playlist? Like, what's the song that they're listening to? What do you think, chat? Good. If you had a break and you had to listen to one song to get you pumped up to go into Tego, what would it be? Let us know. I can't see it, but you know, let everybody else know as we see where everybody's dropping this time around.
Call your shot.
It looks like based off of the drop channel, it looks like everything should be copacetic here, as nobody really picking the same spots. We had a couple of teams move around, but down towards Ohyang, Geekay and Bagopod getting a little bit close.
I'll give you a couple of them. We got Darude Sandstorm.
Oh, okay.
Barbie Girl.
Oh, okay. Now you pull it
Gangnam
up.
Style. Yeah.
Gangnam Style. Okay, I'm down with that.
I got it.
I can get with that. You know what? If there's anything that can get me hyped to go ready to murder, it's Gangnam Style.
Whopping Gangnam Style.
So we see
Hey,
Tigger.
I mean, dude, it is kind of hypey.
Yeah, sure.
Don't be hating on side.
Hey, I'd never. I would never. But yep, you can see. Interestingly enough, okay, there we go.
What a
circle. Pop off to the east, and it's going to center up on O Young, right where 4 a.m. is. Well, okay, not O Young. I'm sorry, that's a little bit different there. That's down towards the south where Geekay is. But either way, it's settling up right on top of 4 a.m. and a lot of free area to the north right there.
Yeah, and the fact that airport is still in. I mean, a couple of hard shifts. The river does kind of run through, but it's like the shallowest river ever, so it doesn't really count as a river. Everybody knows that you got the footpaths that you can kind of run across through it. So really, the death funnel feels like it could be more on the western lay. We also do have, it is going to be T5, Furia, Freaks, and T1, as well as Bestia, with one member of Rock that are playing the northwestern island. They could maybe do some emergency pickups, territory wrap over towards Shipyard, that northern area, pretty open. I'm more concerned about the Na'Vi, Day Trade, VP, and the other 3 members of Rock that are all very lined into each other on the west, as we do have ourselves an interview, I believe, ready with Stade from Na'Vi.
Hello guys, it's Bella for the mid-game interviews. I'm with Na'Vi Stade. Oh my goodness, the first day here is so great for you at PGS 8. Although you did miss out on the chance to play in the PGS 7 final stage, today is looking very, very different. What changed?
Yeah, hello. We just changed our wood spots, but it's not very big difference with Pachinki. It's in the center of the map, so pretty the same for us. And we just gonna play the same game from the middle.
It's kind of same, different, I guess. Same, but different.
Not a big difference.
All right, thank you, Stade. And we're gonna go back to Tego.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Well, thank you for getting to hear from young Stade. I know everybody's was very excited to see what this lad had to give to the team when they announced him as the replacement for Diffex early on. I know that there was a lot of talk about who would be the one to come in, but Stade so far looking pretty good as a filler here.
I mean, big shoes to fill, right? And
absolutely.
Whenever you're looking at coming into an international and having to fill that level is complicated. Then we look at what's going on with hot drops and everything else. It's a very pressure situation where you can either pop up as a diamond or you can just kind of crumble under it all. And it feels like, looking at the leaderboard, while it does feel like PGS 7 was a crumble moment, the diamonds might be forming.
Yeah, the lights are always a little bit brighter than you expect, but you know what? When you're here,
kind of disappointed in Twisted Minds and Bestia today.
Used to it, and it also helps whenever you stop hot.
Really disappointed in Twisted Mind and Bestia.
So that's a step in the right direction, and it's working out a treat for Na'Vi so far with 32 points in first place.
So looking out, VP is doing a very southern wrap, and that's going to be roughly along the line that Day Trade's going to do. 17, T1, Furia, T5, Freaks all look like they are going for that northern territory as we are watching for Angry Men. 17 make their rotation. 17 could have a couple
Twisted Mind,
but Type has
Twisted Minds right here in 13th place. They won all of the tournaments last year.
So if anything, they
and they're at 4 points today. And then Bestia is a South American team that has Mime on it, and they're struggling today.
There's a 100% playable circle. Everybody's alive. No hot drops, so it's going to be a little bit of a slow slog here through the beginning part.
We do have that eastern wall that is eating up some space.
That is fair. So okay, yeah. Let's say we'll say it's 75% playable. Yeah, why not? Why not? I don't know numbers. I'm a caster. Forrest.
We don't take that's what the leaderboard's for.
Exactly.
I don't know numbers. I'm a caster. What's good, Polar Bear? How you doing, buddy?
Forrest taking a few shots towards Na'Vi as Na'Vi's just kind of making their way in and just kind of figuring out where everybody is. You see Olympus all by himself, but it looks like he should get a partner in crime here as Baron is slowly arriving.
Yeah, and this is a very strong position to be playing from. Good job on keeping the vehicles pretty protected. So 2-2 split can kind of cover each other. Territory is not being too contested yet, as this is kind of northeast of Buksansa. So
what do we got going on up here?
No spoilers, bud. I don't want to hear it. La 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 la.
We got a couple. We got Furia going through, T5 coming through, and Freaks coming through as Haven will spot out Rosseted, gets that first knock. Should be able to get the flush as well, and that's a point that Furia would very much like to have. Oh, get
well,
the toesies.
Here's the
there
issue, though, is the fact that now T5 is very firmly gate-kept. We have the Freaks are going to be just to the south of them, and now with this bridge camp going on, T5, you can see that they just have no options. They have to go to the west, which means they're going to have to do a much bigger wrap. As long as they can make it around the Freaks, they should be fine. As long as they can make it by Yongxian and get to that bridge. Issue is, Day Trade has got a whole different situation going on down to the south. Bestia's in some trouble. They have one of their members down. It looks like we might be going for a bit of a stop-off. Belmoth still hungry after that last game.
Oh Young, not as safe as advertised. As Vinny will
come on, Bestia.
Day Trade do lose Flash in the process, but Bestia taking the 1-1 trade, and they should be making their way on. Draft King kind of got left behind, but now he's going to run right into Bagopah. And yeah, I think he sees that. He's going to stop down, maybe. I
mean, he can wrap along the field and just kind of slow down the pacing. The rest of Bestia, though, they're just kind of sending it in. It looks like they're going to be running right next to K, as well as if they continue going east, E-Arena. This is just damage control stop. Yeah, just whatever you can find, man. Nothing feels good, so find at least a rock, some cover, park up your cars, get something good for it, because Freaks over here have a ton of information. One of the few gliders that we have in game right now, scouting out a ton of what's happening in the north.
Yeah, worth noting, for future reference, just in case it comes up, Rock, we're holding a bridge camp on that far western bridge, and nobody came through. But that's something you like to see from that South American squad. They definitely did not have a great PGS 7, but they've started PGS 8 off pretty well, getting into the late game with a lot of guys up, and now they're feeling confident enough to start pulling off bridge camps.
Trying to keep the momentum going, right? Even if it's not going to be anything that comes out, seeing them make aggressive plays to try to continue point game is what you want to see from a squad that was struggling in the last PCS. So I like the modifications coming in. Damage control for T5 still over on that northwestern island. They're just kind of hunkered down around Army base. You can show signs of hesitation for the first time in T5 in a while.
Yeah, maybe stopping down whatever compounds are around that area, just looting up, getting some more meds, anticipating eating a little bit of blue zone here. But fortunately for them, all is clear on that eastern front, and all bridges are free. So they should be able to make their way into the zone fairly easily here as we check in with 17. Twisted Minds just off to the south. We'll see if 17 starts to stretch their legs a little bit from this position, or if they just kind of elect to kind of keep everybody together.
Belmont scouts with his body better than almost anybody that I've ever seen. He just drives out and he's like, I dare you to shoot at me. Show me where you are so that way I can shoot back. So
a man after my own heart.
I mean, hey, we are very good at being pincushions when we play.
It's true. I am very much a scout by getting shot kind of guy.
It's the secondary part where we've got to like really hit the shots back onto it, man.
Yeah, where I've got to survive the problem. That's where I'll start running into issues.
We know who kills us though.
Who's that?
Well, I mean, we spot them before they kill us.
Well, that's true. Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. Well, the emergency picked up for Day Trade and popped as the circle is coming in. Just in case this thing hard shifts off to the north, they will be ready and raring to go as everybody's just kind of holding put for the time being.
That is a very defensive position coming out from HS at this stage. As, I mean, full-on protective point. The rest of the squad still holding down pretty center. Ooh, that is still a lot of unplayable over into the east. So it's going to be Kanyong going to be pretty big in it. Day Trade, I wouldn't be surprised, says no to that emergency pickup because why would you? You can just do a bit of a shift over into the east. GK, another good position. Oddly enough, that send that Bestia made puts them in a pretty strong spot for now, but also kind of at the focal point for a potential death funnel that's coming.
Yeah, that ain't bad. But I think Geek is going to do a lot by being on that top of the ridgeline just to do a little defense here. But you start worrying about what's coming into the south because you got VP, Navi, Rock all kind of making those long wraps down to the south here. As Twisted Minds just going to start making their way into Kanyang. 4 a.m. They centralized on the eastern part of Kanyang, leaving that western edge open, and Twisted Minds ready and willing to take it.
What I love is over here into the east, we can see that it does look like the Freaks have put their back right up against the wall. They still have the glider scout that's going on, so they're very aware of what's happening with Furia, so they should be able to regroup. And it feels like in these first couple of games, early rotations have been a bit of an issue coming out for the Freaks. So at least getting their back to the wall, they know that they only have to contend with squads that are presently shooting at them. T1 is going to stop off a bit further away into the west, but Salute has at least a decent firing line into Fury to kind of push.
He got shot.
Man, that was some good retaliation shots onto Salute.
Wasn't even retaliation. That was Akon from Begopa. So Begopa doing a little bit of defense for Furia, and that's nice of them, as Furia now has a rock to play around, but they do find themselves sandwiched in between the Freaks and Begopa and T1 even to the just off to the west.
Old rivalries die hard. No! Right? Begopa spots out, going, hey, look, it's the Freaks, bro. We got to take the shots at the Freaks. Who cares about Furia in front of us? We got to get back at them.
Gizeri did get that knock on a Deal, but it looks like Deal should be able to be rezzed, so no harm, no foul just yet for these guys, as Furia still getting into their vehicles. I don't think they're comfortable at all, and they should not be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know where they go. Really, now there's even more containment up into the north, as 17 has kind of crept in right back behind T1. 4 Angry Men still has to contend in with, it's going to be twisted pretty close to them. Begopa still holding down to the south. Furia is kind of finding a way around to find some safety, but it don't feel good.
It don't. And while all this is going on, Na'Vi trying to make their way in on the south side. Ferris going to run into a VP split, so a little bit of EU on EU action down there. But, the spray from Salute not going to land. And now he's given up his position. He's got to get on the move, or, well, why not have a couple other players join you? And now it is just a full-on firing line for the DN Freaks, as they will finish off Gizera.
Okay, now, Furia, how much can you really get out of this point? Because, I mean, any peak that they go for is going to have a new set of contenders coming for it, while we do have a new set of contenders that are going to be wrapping in. T5 coming in from the north. They are going to shift due to the shots or potential angles coming up from 17 all the way into the sight lines that are going to be coming up right back behind Heaven and the rest of the Freaks. So, if anything, this is a new contender for problems for Freaks and Furia both.
This river line is wild right now. Is Fluky going to be the first one to arrive? And fortunately, the Freaks left Heaven behind to make sure that they were protected just in case this type of situation happened. And it looks like he will do enough to make Fluky go away. Yeah, actually, they're going to go ahead and send Guman and one more back. They're going to leave Salute holding that ridge line. And the new circle pops, and, well, they've got space to play. Kang Yung, as you said, still big player involved here.
So down to the south, about to get popping off, as we've got Na'Vi that has to make a move. We've got VP, GK, as well as Rock. Rock already being gate kept out by Forest, but it's going to be a continual push coming in. Furia still on the hunt for somewhere to try to find safe. He's going to try to make landfall right next to T1. T1 not going to let that happen, chasing after it, but don't look like they know exactly where he has gone. Good peek between the two, but I think Heather should be pretty resible.
Yeah, that should be an easy red, as Posa maybe just getting a little bit aggressive with that peak, not realizing what he's going up against. Forest now once again running into problems as they try to come into the south side of Kang Yung, and Twisted Minds is more than willing to dispatch them. And T5, they're still in trouble. They're out in the blue zone here on the north side, trying to find some way to get inside with Fluky in the air, just feeding over information, but there's just nowhere to go.
I mean, it's taken so long for them to find some breach point, as now it looks like Rock might be wrapping over there, and the other members for Forest and now kind of watching what's going on with GK right next to him, and GK playing this trap very slow. They've got a lot of vision. They don't want to pull the triggers just quite yet because they don't know if anybody could be wrapping behind them. Potentially Na'Vi, who does have a foothold inside the circle, but I mean, it looks like a couple of members from Na'Vi might have spotted out GK as well.
See where Forest does here. Looks like they're comfortable just playing the one safe place they have, and it's inside the zone, and they just don't realize that GK is slowly putting themselves in a position to collapse, as you see PWD and Spiro going low, and now the shots are going to come out. Ooh. And that's going to force Olympus to get back on the move. Spiro being that anchor man.
Oh, look at everybody collapsing, and Hyruzen now coming in back behind it.
Oh, these are actually shots from Twisted Minds forcing Forest to move.
Yeah, Olympus has to be cautious as he's juking out all of the shots on top of this. PWD, I think, just took a shot at range, but it was pretty far away, so still hasn't given up the danger close position yet. Forest still trying to find somewhere to get away from the firing lines, as it is also going to be 4 Angry Men with a couple of shots that came out from Kang Yung. Going to make it a lot more complicated for them to deal with. DK, I mean, if you crest that hillside now, you could have to deal with 4 Angry Men, but you could just have a perfect beat into Forest. But I think that Forest is starting to get a read on it.
Yeah, PWD's low man, the GK low man PWD got spotted out by Na'Vi, So he's going to have to rejoin the rest of the squad in vehicle. So Forrest is going to hear that coming through, and yet they're just going to hop in the whip and get on out of Dodge. But there's not really a whole lot for them to play here. Na'Vi just going to find the smallest of footholds here on the south side, sharing a compound with Virtus Pro. They've got Day Trade off to the east.
Hey, this is the information from earlier. Can they manage to make it in? Do have one of their members get dropped? Does Baron? No, he doesn't even want to go for it. He says nope. That's just bait, can't go for the res, instead just goes for some form of safety, but it does not feel safe at all. At least the vehicle providing some protection from the line of Twisted. As a new circle is popped, it's just going to be staying pretty much center on where we were at beforehand, so teams down to the south end of the north going to have to make some pretty desperate moves. Freaks are going to be ahead of it. 17 hopping inside of vehicles, they're going to be trying to wrap in. T5 already found a position to play from. Rock still kind of the odd man out, but down to the south, it's going to be Na'Vi, Day Trade, VP, and GK all having to make moves.
I see a lot of teams starting to send it for very small little ridge lines like this, or shacks in the middle of the zone, just trying to find any hard cover to play around. Theraton 5 is already there. Bestia, you see what they're working with. 17 on the move. They're pulling
Na'Vi
right up onto Freaks. Na'Vi pulling right up onto Day Trade. The swap not going to work there. Salute will find Chabé as Belmont's going to find Stead. And now it's a 3v3 over here on the east.
Oh, good hold from Hackatory.
No!
For cover, but that means his position is revealed. Belmont's going to be playing over into the east of it. Thanadol is going to be over into the west. So this is going to be very complicated for Day Trade. VP is going to be wrapping and right back behind Na'Vi, though, so that could come at the perfect opportunity for Day Trade to really get their
A fantasy team is getting killed.
Are they aware? VP now starting to unload. They're just rolling up the hillside. They're going to jump out. They see an opportunity, try to pounce, but no. Ferris drops a nade right on top of them.
Beautiful read from VP, and an even more beautiful read from Na'Vi. They had him on the defense, but unfortunately they will go down. Day Trade down to 2, and VP, they might be able to get their res back on his no. Ibby on the bike, that's not what you want to be pushing into a fight with, but Belmoth and Thanadol staying alive and holding course for Day Trade.
We also did have a shift come out from Begapa, who has 3 members that are inside the circle. It's getting too hard. That gets vision onto Belmoth.
What the hell was going on down here?
Has to run. 3 members that are inside.
Staying alive and holding course.
Look at this.
Not what you want to be pushing into a fight with, but Belmoth and Thanadol staying alive and holding course for Day Trade.
We also did have a shift come out from Begapa, who has 3 members that are inside the circle. It's getting too
Love
hard.
PUBG.
Vision onto Belmoth. Belmoth has to run for cover. Blue zone right nipping at his heels. So it is going to be Day Trade and VP both in a very bad spot. I don't know how long Two Heart's going to hold for this one, but I mean, you can see it's just kind of held both these squads with no options. Eevee's still just trying to, I think, use the bike to get into the zone, but it's going to be E-Arena that spots him.
And that is rough for Virtus Pro. They came over at the perfect time to third party on that fight, but just the timing was just not there. Na'Vi was kind of in a pause mode, and they heard the vehicles pull up, and a great grenade slowed things down immediately, and now VP is just going to struggle to survive a little bit longer here as Ibby gets spotted out. So now Beamy, the last player left alive for the Polar Bears.
T1 also having to contend with 17 at very close range positions. A couple of nades look like they were trying to be set up. So T1, who's had kind of control over this area and was controlling what was happening over into the east as well. 17 is now kind of slid into point. Belmoth goes down to blue zone. Thanadol probably going to follow not too much longer. So Day Trade, unless you find a way to get past Begapa, I mean, not too much more you can do. T1 does have type that goes down, but I mean, T1, they don't really have to make any big pushes right now. I feel like this is just more territory control.
Oh, these are coming from 17. Looks like they're going short. They might be going for Theraton 5. Will they land? They're going to be a little bit short. They're going for Freaks, actually playing along the roadside, and they're not landing where they would like. So
I like the concept, though, because they know that that's probably where they're going to have to go into circles. So try to see if they can weaken them or at least force them away from the line.
Well, 17 already down to 3, and they've got a big problem with T1 on their north side, full strength, as they're starting to make their way in through the smoke walls. If they can get within grenade range and leading the way. He's got 2 frag grenades in his pocket. He's going to start off with the first one. That's going to land amongst the vehicles. That's going to do some damage. A second one might do even more as the rest of the team has arrived. And now that is going to be 1 down for 17. I couldn't see who it was. Lil Ghost goes down and gets taken out. And Shawu now down as well. 7-7-0 on the last one alive. You got to feel he's not too much longer for this world. Yep, Deal will be the one that gets him.
PWD just absolutely popped off down there to the south. T1 in some trouble, though. It's going to be T5 on one side as well as the Freaks trying to contain anything that T1's trying to bring. There is some cover, so they might have some time to do some damage control. Raining was playing back over into that northeastern area, so it looks like he should be able to regroup. But, I mean, Freaks, Guman, as well as Heaven have a good position to kind of hold them out, while Path and Pong is taking shots over to the west. T1 in a lot of trouble.
All our top teams out of the lobby now, so we could see a little bit of reshuffling if this one keeps going, as we see 3 teams left that are still full strength. Only 3 with 12 teams remaining. As a deal, we'll have to do a little fancy footwork to dodge the grenade, but Ian will pick him off in the end and take him down.
That's one of the things I love about watching. Specifically, it feels like Korea has this really good nade meta where they'll drop it and know that the person behind cover is going to have to shift in. I know that all the regions try to execute it, but it really feels like Korea has that mechanic down so well, force them to step out and get an easy pickup, but Freak's still harassing T1. The Path has a bit of an opportunity in front of them, but it is just fighting tooth and nail for every single foot to get into safe zone for T1.
There is just no shelter for shade here for Freaks, as they have the deployable cover. They're getting shot from front, back, and sideways as Akan is taking shots into him. Theraton 5 might give them a little bit of a reprieve here, as Heaven will get spotted out. He's going to go down to Raining, and that'll be the flush as well. Heather will bleed out, and now Guman, the last player left alive, eating some blue zone. Shots in the back from Akan, and he will go down. But T1 taking a lot of damage. I think it's just going to be down to Ian now.
I mean, he managed to make it in the safe zone. While this was happening, there was a bit of a collapse down into the south. PWD continued raining up a ton of kills over here. It's going to be GK lined up against Begapa, as Akan is going to also get spotted out. That means it's only Park Pro. Bestia is going to be just to the north of Begapa. Looks like they're going to leave one behind in DraftKings, take shots at E-End. And since the other 2 members a bit further down to the south is no surprise.
Okay.
I guess this is just the way the circle wants to go. They want to give us a kind of urban ending.
All right, well, 4 a.m. They've got some decision-making to do. They know that there's teams off to their west sharing the city, but it looks like they're going to go ahead and center up, circle up in the compound down, well, closest to the center of the circle, and kind of watch all this play out on the outskirts as Geeke, they're just kind of going through, deathballing through whatever's left on the edges. They'll stop down long enough to get the res onto Quizzy, but that in the hands of PWD doing some work right now as Ranger X will finish off T1.
VP still has Beamy alive. He's nomming on some blue zone for right now, but not too much more he can really do given the fact that there are 3 squads in front of him. 4 Angry Men still have a very strong fortified point play from, but they have a lot of contenders inside of the city itself. So Rock, as well as Twisted, and let's not forget about Baron. He did manage to make the send over there. Bestia, though, in a lot more of a dangerous spot. They're kind of playing low ground, as it is going to be Geek that's starting to wrap in. Looks like they want to just start seeing how many kills that they can get along this line. Park Pro hiding in the bushes right next to him could be a big, big problem if they don't pay attention to him, though.
Never doubt the power of Bloomy. Park Pro is in the bush. He's a bush pro, and he can get involved at any time here.
I mean, he is
Bestia.
parked.
He is, absolutely. Well, Silzen all by himself down here. DraftKings and Mime trying to work their way into zone. So Silzen just kind of on a solo mission, and he's got 2 grenades, but I don't think they're not lining up the way he wants to use those frags, it would seem. As Park Pro will wait for them to get in the vehicle. He's going to find 2. Does he get the 2 points? Geeke going to try to go back. Sil's going to try to steal him away, and he's not going to get him, unfortunately, as Beamy? Now Beamy will come from behind as well. Come on, you see him? Come on, Bloomy. You got this.
I mean, he could pick up something for it. Bestia, though, still kind of held out. Rich get richer, as well as 4 Angry Men have a ton of crates that land on top of them, so they're in a good spot.
Snakes in the grass.
So many of them, all stacked
they're
up.
Just everywhere.
That feels bad because Geek was doing
doing really
good.
Well.
They were just constantly controlling everything that was going on to the south. I mean,
sometimes it goes. Here.
Well, this is going to be a very hard push in. Yeah, I was going to say 4 Angry Men, pretty stacked. They got some crates, they got a lot of cover, and they are very defended up.
Well, Quizzy and Spiro have a rock.
Yeah.
And that is
1 car and an exploded car.
And there you go. I mean, that's more than some people could ever ask for.
Beanie wishes he had a car.
He really does right now. As he is still slowly, I don't think he's taking a shot yet because Bestia, Mime, and DraftKings still playing around the edge, fighting with Theraton 5's Patapong will get the knock on the DraftKings. Ranger X will get the flush onto Mime, and that is Bestia going down as Theraton 5 with 2 alive, 6 points, and they are chasing, trying to stay alive with the blue on their backs.
Path and Pong has wrapped out into the blue, and
Beamy!
Beamy does spot out Ranger X, but he goes down as well. So the dominoes continue to fall. GK now with the new circle pop means the fact that they do need to kind of leave their rock. They've got a couple of crates that have dropped in front of them, maybe for cover. Rock also, not the rock that GK is next to, the team Rock, does have some position up to the north that they can kind of regroup in, as well as they did get some separation away from Twisted. But Twisted and 4 Angry Men are still very strong in the circle.
Tell you what, GK needs a door to open, and Spiro is holding one hell of a key here. If he can get a knock, they've got a vehicle. They can get on the move once again. 4 a.m. That would be very brave to peek that, knowing that you've got an alm on the other side. Tong Mu is just trolling at this point. The Longs will take a body shot.
I mean, Spiral will take them damage. See what he can get.
What does he do?
I mean, what else have they got to do? They're kind of stuck here.
He's like,
hey,
come on,
do it again. Do it again.
I bet you can't hit it.
Can you do it the third time?
You can't do it. How many rounds you got left, buddy? How many? Look at Spiro. Spiro's got a smile on his face. He knows.
I mean, I mean, 4 Angry Men have kind of lost a bit of control over the circle. They had to send Godv over to the north. Twisted, meanwhile, has actually shifted across the road with Perfectix. So this distraction from GK has kind of caused problems for the end game for 4 Angry Men quite a bit.
A little bit, but it's also caused problems for GK because they haven't opened up a door for themselves to make their way into this next zone. I mean, they do
what
have.
What else do they do?
Well, they can play that wall around the back of where Baron is, right? So they have a spot.
Well, but
I don't know what the wheels on.
They have to assume it's taken at this point.
Well,
right?
I don't know what the wheels on the left side of this car are looking like. True. Right. So, I mean, that's it's their only play, right? Like, I mean. 4 a.m.'s just going to keep staring over here.
4 Angry Men can keep peeking the window. You can get multiple knocks and then just drive in that way.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, I mean, hey, I respect. Oh,
or we can do that.
I'm tired. I want to get a headshot. Hey, yo, can you come here? I want to make sure I get this.
ADR farming. 11 first aids into the pocket of Spiro now, so I think this is. Yeah, I'm assuming that the left side of that car is pretty busted up and. Inoperable. So this is just not. I mean, 6 kills for Giga. I mean, considering they're playing one with their star player in Diffex, they're in 4th place. They're doing really well for themselves.
Oh,
okay.
No, not enough damage. Okay, so here we go. We've got our top 4. It is going to be 4 Angry Men with 4 up, Twisted with 4 up, Rock with 3, and Forest. While he doesn't have 4 up, he's got himself an M249, which can kill 4 members of a squad.
Accuracy through volume, baby. That's what we always say. Well, 4 a.m., they need this. I would feel for just the psychological value alone would go miles here for 4 a.m. if they can pull this off. But again, Rock finding themselves late game with multiple players up in a decent position to get a win here as they've only got 1 kill so far. Twisted Minds, though, this is going to be the biggest nut to crack. These are professionals, man. These guys are experienced, and they know how to shut this thing down.
Baron has actually left the building itself, and he is looking down the hallway that Twisted is trying to roll through, and he does get the knock onto 1. Oh, it is instantly punished. But Example goes down. Godvid, and that outside position does spot what's going on with Twisted. So Twisted, while they did manage to get over here, does have some issues to deal with. 4 Angry Men has to look back over at Rock, spots them out. Rock's going to do a wrap in because they know where Twisted were playing. These guys were jockeying up against Twisted for quite a while, so they know that this should have an open path. Can they exploit it? Can Godv stop them is the real question, as he doesn't have any real support over here.
He does not, and meanwhile, Twisted Minds able to get everybody back on their feet as Lou's going to go for the res onto Example. They've got Rock pinned behind the RV. They've got pinned behind the building. Rock with the blue at their backs. Actually, they've made their way into the zone. They've got a building, so they should be fine. The rest of 4 a.m., meanwhile, are just trying to find any angles that they can. They'll throw the smoke walls out to go and rejoin their captain.
Sorry, I hear some player is laughing maniacally right now, so pretty excited. If I had to take a wild guess, probably a Rock player. But, okay, Twisted. So they're going to be playing the southern side of the circle. Only team that's going to be over there. So 4 Angry Men, Rock lined up against each other. This is phase 8, so we're going to see the center dot pretty much going to be right on the road.
Yep.
But it does lean a bit closer onto Twisted's side. So that is going to be a big set of issues whenever we look at 4 Angry Men. Rock, they have to contend with each other and have to move before Twisted, and that is exactly why Twisted made the shift over to get to this point.
Yeah, the problem for Twisted is this fence line or whatever is no cover at all, right? So they really just kind of have to hope that 4 a.m. and Rock square off, and that's going to start off with the knock onto RBN, almost getting the trade onto Solds as well. Solds will send a grenade back, but it's not going to fall as long as, there we go, that's the utility use that we want to see coming out from 4 a.m., but Longs is going to go down as well.
If anything, this just is going to hand over more to Twisted. They've set up a 2-2. It's going to be Example and Perfectix now looking at 4 Angry Men. It's going to be Lou and Batulins playing into the north, but that peak was a bit too much, and that gets punished. HS, look at that. Nate's following up. They've got a lot to still work with. Remember, Twisted and 4 Angry Men, they've been holding this position for a long time. They are going to have a ton of things to be able to throw out.
That's really heads-up play from Perfectix to know exactly what to expect. Immediately just goes and picks up his fallen teammates and gets out of dodge. Back up to full strength. Now Santastico all by himself. Starting to get in a little bit closer. Don't know what kind of utility he's working with, but 4 a.m., they're up to full strength. So all of these teams, despite taking so many knocks, they keep getting the revives. And Atong Mu, he's got the high ground, and he's got a grenade left in hand.
Nades now starting to come out. Everybody just trying to drop them onto the smokes. Santastico off on one side of it. 4 Angry Men look like they're starting to push out. Santastico also, I did see a nade in his hand. He can drop it right on the backside of 4 Angry Men. He could be able to turn the entirety of this game. Atong Mu still can't find anything that he wants on that angle. Example is finally going to go down, but Lou gets a nade back. Perfectix starts to find more. Santastico also starting to see if he can get anything more out of it. 4 Angry Men. Rock in some trouble, but Santastico runs out into the blue. Is he going to sneak up back behind 4 Angry Men? Can he pick up any of these kills? He's just trying to dodge nades. He's going to send it out the blue. He's going to go down. 4 Angry Men down to 1.
Santastico got lost in the smoke, and Atong Mu now. That's a great Molotov. We'll pull him off of the res, and that's going to be a win from Twisted Minds. Did you expect anything else?
There's the Twisted Minds one that I was talking about.
Good for Twisted. The guys that run amok on all of the PGSs last year now finding themselves with a victory. Good momentum starting into the day.
That should be terrifying for everybody else in the lobby as well. It has been a slog for Twisted Minds so far to start off things in Shanghai, and they've not looked the same as they've looked in the past. But again, that's asking a lot. They had one of the most unbelievable years last year, and to be able to ask them to come and bring that into 2025 is asking a lot, but this could be a sign of things to come.
Well, what's great about it is that felt like the Twisted we were expecting. That was clean play, reading the circles, reading how everybody was going to make a play, and following it through. So let's go ahead, move it over to the analyst desk to move into game number 4.
Okay. That is Twisted Minds getting a victory. Trying to wrangle Batu's like not now. Clearly there is focus here for them in the group stage.
Focus. They're finally on track. Everything is going so well.
Definitely so. Brilliant victory here for them. Admittedly, you know, over in Kangyong, expecting to try and, you know, kind of wrestle eventually away an urban ending from their opponents. And it did work out. There was, what, 4 a.m. in there. Rock was being a little bit cheeky in the background.
Yeah, you know, it was a tough circle, this River Tomb. Not a lot of places for people to go to. They all got to kind of hide out. 4 a.m. got a great spot. Was able to sit there. God V looking great, possibly MVP, even though they didn't win this match. You never know. And I think that caused a lot of struggle inside, but mostly it caused a bunch of snakes on the outside, right? We saw Bloomy with a bunch of first aids. We saw a bunch of backstabs. It's tough when you find these sort of unexpected city circles.
Yeah, I mean, considering how east the first circles were, was insane. So from that point on, all of these teams having to really adjust about things. Obviously, there was a lot of dead space there with the cutoff position and kind of that kill barrier that exists on Tego. But all of the teams trying to kind of scramble through some of these fields to the best of their ability. And we saw a lot of fighting down towards the south. As that circle then shifts towards the city. And there was a bit of carnage down here, to be perfectly frank.
Well, and I think it's unavoidable in that situation, right? There's a point where you just have as many as can go into town as you want. We saw Geekay over here. They try to take a push up, grab a rock, and last as long as possible. As we do see that at the end of this match cleans up, lots of folks going out. And then ultimately we move into town for the Final Four, where we saw Rock coming in with honestly snuck up on me. I didn't expect them to have this many points. Yeah. They get into another late game. They put up some good moves, and they ultimately get a good deny at the end to keep points away from their opponents.
And that's said here with 4am getting as far as they did with the initial circle. They were dead center. You were kind of hoping and expecting that 4am was going to be able to do something with the circle. They did in the end, right? Getting to where they did get to. And then the last remaining member of I don't know. I can't remember who it was.
Kill so badly.
He was running about. Where are they? I can't see. There's so many smokes.
It was reminiscent of Bestia's fight inside of the tunnel, where there's just too many smokes. I know there are kills here. I just don't know where to find them.
There was a moment where I'd just been like, okay, just spray.
And he, you know, but then that grenade goes off, and he's like, all right, well, I'm already down to like 10 HP. I may as well just run off into the blue. You know, it was a good, smart play. And that came off the back of Twisted Minds getting into a very good spot. They had a strong crash. There was that moment where Godv got the knock on example. And you thought maybe this sets 4am to make a nice transition here, but it was not meant to be. Twisted Minds comes away with that chicken dinner and the 7 kills.
Not bad at all. That will boost them up significantly. It does feel like EMEA is coming in a little bit angry to the day one of our group stages here. And I'm going to be honest, we kind of needed it.
Yeah, you love to see it.
Considering the majority of EMEA didn't do that well in our previous PGS 7. But 4am as well being able to take number 2 from all this. Bit of a shame to not see Rock here, as kind of say, like in terms of the quietness, it's clear that they didn't get that many kills off the back of it alongside the placement.
But you know, they made it into a decent spot early on there, and they were able to sort of lock it down. Same as 4am, you saw them not really doing very much until the very end game, even though they insisted on peeking Geek over and over again. Twisted Minds, though, does come away with that victory, and once again, it is just like when Na'Vi got a win. It's not your expected all-star to come out on top. Example actually ends up with no kills. We see Perfectix, who I was hoping to see come up big today, goes ahead and gets us a man of the match.
There he is. Not bad at all. 391 damage go their way here. And again, when the circle's coming up towards the urban finish, they're happy to just sit patient, sit calm, sit collected, and just let a lot of their utility in that very late game, if they can hold on to it, speak for itself. And it definitely did, right? I mean, they didn't even really need to take that many shots to where the other teams had to then approach them from.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they really do well, is they outthink every other team, and then they also have the gun skills to back that up. They make a nice crash there up on that north side of the city. They're able to lock it down, and they really are uncontested going into that last 4-man fight. They walk away with 17 total points. And remember, if you guys didn't tune into PGS 7, you were crazy, but also remember, this is probably their worst PGS performance to date when they came here last week. So there is a lot of making up to do, but this is the kind of team that you expect them to get stronger and better from bad performances.
Yeah, you'd think so. I mean, even the week between, right, that gives everybody an opportunity to step back and kind of study exactly what maybe have gone wrong for them there. But this was an important game because in the prior 2, they did not have that many points to their name, 4 in fact, but they do jump up into 5th place here to Twisted Minds with 21 points on the board. Again, though, kind of in a way that Rock was quite silent in the urban situation. I suddenly realized whilst we were watching them in that top, it's like, oh, they actually had quite a few points from the previous games, too.
Yeah, I mean, they've just been sort of grinding this one out. You can see they had 7 kills. They're doing this through placement. They're making themselves push into the middle. I think they've made an adjustment over how they sort of approach the last PGS. They are moving aggressively towards the center spot, trying to avoid fights and gain themselves in the late game, and so far, it is paying off in points. My worry is that that's not a strategy that tends to transition into finals very effectively. That's sort of like, well, let's just try to grind out these placement points and not have to fight too much. You saw that at the end of that game when they did have to go and throw down against 4am. It was a little confused there.
Definitely. Let's take a look across all of the teams getting ready to go once again. We will be moving on to Rondo. I assume you have your eyes peeled for good old Test Track Neos Factory.
You know, if you're not watching the test track, you're just not doing it right. I expect the teams to go there. I expect to possibly see a little bit of conflict, but it's never been worth fighting over this drop spot, so everybody should just share it pretty effectively. But yes, circles do tend to favor that area, and if a team doesn't play it that way, I think they're just crazy.
Yeah. Lay of the land, I think we kind of summarized and theorized that Twisted Minds will have the West, and then 17's probably going to have the factory, but let's get to it as we head over to the commentators. We are ready to Rondo for game number 4.
Let's get ready to Rondo.
Hey, you did it.
Yeah, no,
you did it. You wanted to bring us in just so you could do that. I respect it.
Why not?
I respect it. Copyright. Be damned.
Right,
well, we are ready to go into.
He's going to waste his time coming after the $2 I make casting this. Good luck.
We're ready to get into Rondo, and as the desk mentioned, that Test Track Neox facility, all eyes on that as we finally, it seems like we're getting more, at least in group stages, it's a rare solo plane. We got double planes through 2 group stage games last time around. So we'll see what Twisted, Navi, 4 a.m., and 17 decide to do. 17, well, it looks like Twisted and Navi are just going to go ahead and take it. All right, easy peasy.
And what? It's Navi getting Neox, so yeah, this is actually just pretty comfortable. Oh, yeah.
And 17 just going off to the north, and yep, 17 perfectly fine, donating that loot spot over to our first place team currently in Navi. So, okay, I was all excited, man. I thought we were about to get some early action on Rondo, but instead, everybody's just playing civilly.
I mean, 17 have been having some good games. Twisted just got a victory. Navi got the first victory. So, a committed hot drop at this stage could be a momentum shift. So, I don't really blame anybody for kind of stepping away from it.
No, not at all. And okay, no test track circle for us today. We are going all the way down to the southwest. And look at that. There is so much interesting things. We got a mountain in there. We got a river in there. You got just a whole ton of empty fields.
I mean, you have to assume with the river at some point we're playing into the northwest, but this is not until we get to like that stage of the circles, right?
Yeah.
So this can still do some really crazy stuff, and this is a pretty cool section of the map just in general, due to the fact that we've got a lot of hillsides. There are going to be some sightline breaks that are over into the southwest. The water being itself its own gatekeep on what's going to be happening on anything that's happening in the east. The north is a lot more open, though. It's a lot more field-based. It's going to be really easy to get caught up in some long-term dust-ups, maybe some longer skirmishes or bad rotations.
Virtus Pro and E-Arena kind of working, one on the west side of the river, one on the east side of the river. They both have kind of prio on where they decide to play. As you can see which teams you can go and get that first-person perspective on what the teams are doing, how they're playing it here. As we check in with Rock. Rock, 4th place. Rock.
Again, still holding it.
Question marks? Okay, holding on to it, and they're finding themselves in the late game pretty consistently so far, and they are already in the center, or close to the center of the circle. As we hear from Ranger X.
มันดีขึ้นกว่าเดิมมากๆครับถ้าสมมติมองแค่ในทีมไทยเพราะว่าปกติแล้วเวลาทีมไทยมาระดับโลกก็จะแบบไม่เคยเป็นแบบนี้แต่ครั้งผมว่า PGS8 น่าจะมีทีมไทยที่เป็นแชมป์ผมว่าเวลาเราใช้เครื่องร่อนน่ะเราจะเห็นง่ายกว่าตอนที่เราขับรถผมว่ามันน่าจะได้ข่าวง่ายกว่าครับพี่เพราะส่วนใหญ่เวลาผมมีเครื่องร่อนผมจะได้ข่าวง่ายกว่าเวลาผมใช้รถอย่างเดียว
There you go. Get some good information from using that glider and bold words proclaiming that an APAC team will be the champion of PGS 8. We'll see how it plays out from here. So far, Theraton 5, the leading APAC team here in 3rd place overall.
It's not the craziest of statements given the way that we've been seeing them play. What's interesting to watch about APAC is how it's so spiky in their movement as far as on the leaderboard. Like, they have these massive games, but then they can follow up, kind of have not the best of games. But
case in point, Theraton 5.
It does feel like day trade is starting to stabilize more. They're still keeping their aggression in the earlier stages. They're still keeping the movement that kind of the region's known for, but they're not really bottoming out and having the lows that they used to have, which could give them a really good path on this leaderboard.
Well, that's always been the knock on APAC teams, right? Is that you can see those huge games. I mean, you look at Theraton 5, what was it, 21 kills, 31 points overall, the most points ever in a game, and they had another first place win with 13 kills, and then they had a second place with 7 kills. That like those 3 games accounted for 67 points. The other 15 games they got 40 points. So that's kind of what you get with some of the APAC teams. But it's finding that consistency, right? And we started to see that from the Expendables, and we started to see a little bit more, as you said, from Day Trade.
Well, it also really affects other squads, right? Whenever you look at squads like EMEA, or just most of the squads from EMEA in general, they play the points per game system very well. It's usually just an efficiency system. Whenever you have these big spikes that are happening, specifically, it feels like several APAC teams can pop off in a row. It makes it really hard to hold stability. And speaking of stability, that's going to be a bad place to be, as Lucarux has got just a perfect perch to rain down bullets onto Bestia.
That's not very stable, is it? Oh, well. Silzen's still alive. He's all the way back in Tuling, though. He's nowhere near this. And, well, he gets to be... We'll see how he can be the solo for Bestia. We've seen some success from Bestia solos in the past. And we've seen success from Bestia solos on this map. So now we'll see if Papa Silzen can pull out the stops and show us how it's done.
Real talk. We've seen solos from Bestia pop off on most maps. They are quite proficient.
Look, what we're trying to say is they got solos a lot.
But they do know how to make the most of it.
Exactly.
A lot of these members really do play very efficiently a solo.
That's
and that's
true.
its own skill that we really don't get a chance to talk about a lot because there's the whole mindset of coming with 4, that type of stuff. Sometimes just making it and stringing together the ability to salvage a lot of points whenever we do have all these APAC teams popping off and getting 21 kills can really get you into a decent spot.
At the end of the day, you know, survival is still part of this game, not just killing people. So if you can survive and get yourself some placement points for it, just make sure you go out without putting up a big goose egg and not getting anything, then that's a step in the right direction. But Bestia having a little bit of a slow start here, 4 points on the day so far, and now just down to 1 as we check in with the aforementioned day trade making their way into the eastern side of the zone.
And also kind of the eastern point of the river that's kind of making a C shape through the middle of everything. Rock's going to be on the other side of the river. VP's pretty centered up. T1 also pretty centered up. Begapa running a 2-2 split just to the east of T1. Furia running a 2-2 split to the north of that. So E-Arena running a 2-2 split to the south. We have the Freaks that are also trying to salvage into a position that's going to be just to the west of Begapa. Well, we do have 4 Angry Men coming back behind that. T5.
There you go.
T5, they're just going to go ahead and get their glider. They want to come in with information, and they are the latecomers. Well, them and 17 as well as Geek.
Airman Fluky. We've already seen him in the air already. What are they giving him? Give him something. Yeah, give him a few more bullets. Maybe a scope. Yeah, that's what it is. He dropped the 4X, picked up something else, so maybe he can do a little bit of air combat as we see him ready for takeoff.
I mean,
flight path is clear, and we're up.
We have seen him pick up some kills from these gliders.
We have.
And it's really hard in this lobby to do that. But he does a good job of really finding down members and trying to get finishing shots onto him or harassing while the rest of the squad is trying to make a rotate or even a crash we did see one time where he was just kind of dropping a couple of bullets to make everybody nervous, look up at him so that way the rest of his squad can just roll right into their face.
Just be a distraction.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's the best thing you can do, especially when you're coming in from the friendly skies. As you see, pretty clear flight path in front of them all the way into the north side of this zone. If they get a little luck on their side, maybe the zone will pop off to the far north as well, as we see another eye in the sky.
I like it. Gliders.
They're great.
Everywhere that you want to be. Getting all the information. 17 is going to have spotted out probably K in front of them.
They have no idea that Silzen is in the middle of them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that there's a world where Silzen's going to get involved in anything that's happening for at least another 2-3 circles.
Nope. Just hide behind the car. Nobody sees me.
Everything's cool.
Silzen, maybe not. Papa Silzen won't stay quiet. He'll get himself a point and a kill, and look at him.
I mean, obviously I want the Falcons to win the whole thing, but
and now he's got a vehicle.
The rest are coming. Okay.
I would like to see.
Get you your point, King. Now then, hey, he tends to play a lot more passive at the start, but that was too free.
I would if it's not the Falcons, Na'Vi, because Na'Vi is a really good team, and they didn't make the last tournament, so Bestia is out for the. They're not gonna do shit.
Xiao was just like, what has even happened? Well, like, I mean, I'm kind of curious what even happens when you're the guy.
Oh my gosh, you know what happened? The electrical storm picked off, and it was the vans. Oh no, the Picos got left. Oh,
I mean,
things you hate to see.
What is Xiao even doing? Like, he's just like, yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't see the guy that was laying down behind the car. What do you want?
It's on you, Xiao. His blood is on your hands. You have to explain this to 7-7, his family. You're doing fine, buddy. You got this. I believe. Here we go. Easy. Okay, well, if you can't spot out solos, what's the point in even being in the air? The new circle spots, and it's going to favor that eastern side of the river. So teams like Freaks, E-Arena, Bagel Pa in a nice little position here, despite actually Bagel Pa losing Songjang as soon as they tried to hop in the vehicles to get on the moves. A Kraken, or actually it's going to be Gazera that spots him from range, and so now Bagel Pa in a little bit of a spot of bother.
Okay, so now we've got Twisted the Tulip. Gets a good spray on Gazera. Perfectus follows it up. He does take some damage. But this is over in the north. Bagel Pa is also going to get into range, potentially get involved as well. The Toolens does go down. Perfectix got himself eyes on the Kraken for the time being, trying to defend up his IGL, but he is going to go down. Furia on the hunt for whatever kills that they can find, but it is going to be just a continual rope around as there's just too many targets, too many people getting involved.
Oh my goodness, and T1 has eyes on this from range as well. As example, down to just 2 HP. You're going to have to stop peeking for a second. They lose 2 teammates though, but that is not how you want to start your game here as Twisted Minds. They lose a couple of Fury. I think they pick up 1, maybe 2. What do they got? Well, what are they sitting on? 1. Okay, they pick up 1.
They've got a couple of rotates as well that are going to be happening around the circle, as we do have T5 that's wrapping on one side. Furia, you can see, is going to be regrouping right up into the northern corridor. Freaks are going to be holding down just to the south of them, pretty much west of where we saw Begapa a moment ago. T5 already knows where they want to be at. Forest is going to be just to the east of that. So, yes, guys, if we don't see this section of the map a lot, but remember, whenever we're talking about a place, and that place is Long Ho.
Nice. I'm just going to go ahead and leave that one on its own. Virtus Pro has managed to sneak in the middle of the 2-2 E-Arena split. So, you have to keep your eyes on that one as it's going on dead center circle. As Xiaowu still has his eyes in the sky. Day Trade taking their time, making their way into this next zone. And Forest looks like they are going to the aforementioned place of Long Ho. And they might have company, though, soon, as 4 a.m. is starting to arrive. And Pathampong, the front runner for T5, is already there as well. The rest of the squad's starting to make their way in, too.
GK with emergency pickup. Belmont down to the south. So, GK, I mean, this is a good way to just kind of leapfrog over the river. The problem with it is immediately upon this path, after the river, we've got E-Arena, VP stacked up on top of each other, due center of the circle. And it's kind of open, with some high ground advantage points coming up, most notably from 4 Angry Men. Freak's already in that 2-2 entrenched position. This is going to be a very difficult emergency pickup to land.
It is, but I don't know if they would have had a better option because VP is just camping the absolute heck out of that bridge, cutting right through the middle. So, I mean, this might be the best way at this point to get from that eastern side over the river and into the west as we check back in with Fluky. He is the trailing man here. This is a different way to use this glider, and as it looks like the cars are scouting for him.
They hooked him up with the scope, so now it's the guys on the ground's job to scout for him.
Oh, there we go. Another E-pickup as well. Is Rock going to kind of figure the same thing out as Gike did? This is probably our best option for making it across the river, but where do you go? As there not a lot of space left to play here as we check back in with that replay at Twisted Minds and Furia.
IGL, by the way.
IGL BT dubs.
And I mean, you can see the fact that Twisted thought that they had the momentum, but they were so close to Begapa, and it just there was just too many targets around them. So let's see how we're going to do. GK says no. With the way the circle is popped, they're just going to instantly shift back over. Rock's going to say no to their emergency pickup, both eyeing that position just to the north of Renjiang. And so with this E-Arena and VP that we were talking about a moment ago, great positioning. Na'Vi already going to be wrapping back over into the east of this. Squads that were playing and thought that they were safe over in the west, because I thought that I'm with everybody. I thought this was going west.
I mean, what a brutal shift as we see all these teams starting to make plans. Designs on trying to get on over. RBN in a good position to overlook. The few shots will land, but not going to find the knock. Sold's a little bit closer. As looks like Rock, they've got to fight this out. They've got to find a foothold inside this compound, or I mean, the option to play the hill is still there. Like it's not out of the question. But Rock deciding that they want to take this fight with GK.
17 did get themselves Renjiang, and it is going to be Day Trade coming back behind them. Twisted, they are in the circle, pretty centered. Don't feel good. But hey, you know, E-Arena and VP can kind of defend you for the time being. Really, I love the fact that they're kind of eyeing the bridge back behind them going, okay, that's our problem. If anybody has to stop there, we're screwed. So we have to defend that.
Also, where is Theraton 5 going to go? As they are our last E-pickup. They're going from west over to the east. And they've got 3 in there. Example, take a few shots over towards Beamy as VP trying to get spots on both sides of the bridge, and actually Beamy might have just been bait there as Luca Rux comes over and peeks at the perfect time, gets the knock, and they will proceed to get the flush onto Example, and now all of a sudden Lou is all by himself.
It's just a good play from VP, man. I mean, sending one across, knows the fact that that's going to be the weak angle for defense for Twisted, Arena doesn't even play it aggressive just yet. T5 gets shot out of the air. Boom. Right in it. So Day Trade going to be finding more, and potentially even more after that, as Day Trade's going to be rolling right up into the thick of them.
Sorry, you think Patum Pong is the sound it makes whenever he hits the rock and falls down? Oh no, Tigger will spot out Sosin, and the follow-up grenade from Flash should be able to get the knock here as T5 had their high ground. They've got Ranger X up high, they got Rosseted up high, but just no angles down, and Na'Vi now in a little bit of a trouble here with Day Trade on the edge of zone as Thanadol doing some big damage on the Hackdory.
So while we see Day Trade trying to regroup over here, we should also note that it's going to be Furia, 4 Angry Men, and Forest caught up in a firefight you might see happening on your kill feed. So, Theorist, how are you going to find your way over to your friends? T5 up on the high ground, looking down onto everything is going to make that a lot more complicated. Circle continues to keep in water, and that bridge that we were just looking at a little while ago with Twisted.
We'll also just keep going over to the east. I mean, remember, everybody, I mean everybody thought this thing was going west, and when it popped over to the east the first time, the only 2 teams over there had E pickups in the sky. So this is going to be brutal. We'll see what VP can do as far as holding the bridge goes. As Hackatory down to 3 HP, tries to go for the repeak. That might be a little aggressive, and Tigger is ready and waiting, gets the headshot, gets the knock. Day Trade still 4 up. Fairest and Stayed the last 2 left alive for Na'Vi, but they are split.
And keep in mind, I was going to say, we need to see T5 and the amount of control they have. They are very high up here. And this circle has just beat it into their position. They can just really unload on anybody they want to and dictate almost every fight. This is the best third-party position. Look how high up there he is. Nobody's taking shots at him.
Kings of the Mountain for the foreseeable future, as the grenade is going to fall right on top of the vehicle. Lil Ghost has the spray over towards Stade, but Stade has a tree to hide behind for the time being, as the rest of 17 starting to arrive, and this might be it for Na'Vi. Yep, there they go, out in 14th place.
Okay, they've got a lead. How much can 4 Angry Men, Day Trade, and T5 manage to find? Twisted already being out means the fact that VP has an opportunity. VP also still in control of that bridge. While we do have Forest, Freaks, Furia, Begapa, and maybe even T1 E-Arena that'll have to cross that bridge. So this is a Circle 4 bridge camp that's actually really massive.
I mean, I would love to see VP be able to get everybody over to the eastern side, and it looks like that's what they're going to try to do right now, getting Ibby and Luka Rux over there and just set up a position before all these teams that are on the west start to make their way over, because as long as VP is holding that bridge, all these teams on the west are going to have to fight each other.
Yep.
Forest, they were the first ones there, and they're already making the swim for it. Fortunately, they do find a way to get in.
4 Angry Men's going to be wrapping into the tail end of what's going to be going on with Forest. T1, this is just the mess that's just on the western coastline. I mean, Begapa, T1, E-Arena, there's so few options. Get the kills that you can. See if maybe you could manage to swim across. I mean, this is going to be harsh.
Yep. Itamu and Longs go down as now Freaks are fighting with what's left of Furia and Begapa and T1 on the north side. E-Arena, they still have a little bit of a compound that they can play around, and you can see they're just kind of throwing utility, Raining, looking for anybody making a peek.
I think that VP might be actually playing mostly under the bridge, because the Freaks have actually crossed it on one stage, so that's big to keep an eye on. So now T1 looking into Begapa. Park Pro looks like he's trying to get his wages down to the bridge, but now everything's unloading on the bridge. T1 going to use that opportunity in the distraction. We also do have 2 Heart that's over into the west, and that's kind of what's corralling going on with T1. T1 with this new circle pop, you have to figure it out. Okay, are you just going to go for the swim, or are you going to go for the push into E-Arena? Something's got to happen, and with this Park Pro finally going down means that 2 Heart has to make an aggressive shift of his own.
Nice grenade there for Jacob to get the knock on the Park Pro to start things off. Raining must be on his 7th bleed or something by now. Yeah. He will go down to that blue zone grenade from Sizzy. They should be able to get Ian back on his feet while Type just make sure that the push isn't coming out. E-Arena kind of maybe taking a little bit too long here to pull the trigger, being a little bit trepidatious in leaving their compound, but we'll see if T1 can get their act together and make this push. They get the opening knock on a Nurens. That's a good start.
Okay, Hype on Type. Step through the lyrics. That it was a disgusting peek around the wall. E-Arena, big play.
Yeah, they take 2 knocks in the process, though, and 2 Heart still coming up behind is now VP. They spring the trap on the bridge. They'll find heaven. Gubin gets through, however, and Forest, they still have a little bit of a foothold on the south side of that bridge as well. Guman just sending it.
Nowhere to go.
Belmoth takes the shots through the roof. He'll find him, and that is it for the Freaks. They go out in 10th.
Okay, so remember that great positioning from T5 where they could watch everything in the world?
Yeah.
Well, now they're no longer in circle. It's a big issue. And, oh, Too Hard. Just doing him dirty. He's not going down just quite yet. Can he get some more points for his team? Blue Zone's going to stack in, and he is going to go down, but Jacob probably going to bleed out.
Yep, that's going to be it for Jacob, and might be it for Nurens as well. The rest of the team has already sent it. They send the vehicle right into the water, but look at Rock. They are already on the other side. They were waiting for this. Nurens goes down to the blue. BL is just in perfect position, and yeah, that is, well,
fishing with dynamite.
Fish in a barrel is maybe a little bit too literal on the nose there, but that is exactly what we just saw.
I mean, that's just redneck fishing at its finest. Throw a couple of nades in there.
Do a little okey noodling around here. Let's go.
Okay, so to the south, we still have VP lined up against Forest. They're trying to make their rotation. Forest still holding on with just the 2. But look at this, 7 kills for VP. Limpus now down. Kiss, the only one up for his squad, trying to limp his way into the circle. 17 Gaming also caught in between VP as well as Daytrade. T5 are trying to get themselves out of the high ground, but they're having to deal with Daytrade very close. It's going to be Geek Hay. Remember the compound that they fought for a little while ago and lined up against Rock? Both of those squads, great positionings in the north.
Yeah, they are vibing right now.
Yeah.
The only difference is Rock has angles on everything that's going off to the south, while Geek Hay is just kind of playing a little bit of tower defense, although it looks like they may have spotted out T5 as T5 coming through from that. They're trying to wrap to the north from the east and avoid all that mess that's going on down south, but this is what they're having to push into, and it is not great.
Oh, and I mean, Tigger is very close to Ranger X. I was going to say, that is definitely nade range, if not just go out and punch somebody range. So, new circle. Shock stays up into the north, the way it's going. Ranger X, though. Good play. Gets the knock on to Tigger. That should buy them at least the ability to maybe push over into the east. But 17 Gaming now spots out what's going on with Daytrade. That's allowing VP to play along the coast, and now VP can sneak up back behind 17.
I was expecting VP to pop back today, and it has been a good day for them so far. 9 kills in this match alone, but they still have some work left to do. As we see GK finding angles here on the Theraton 5. Unfortunately, can't get the flushes, but that's another point there picked up by VP as Nixie will steal that one away.
I mean, GK played this very well. They got back into position off of that emergency pickup that they passed on, and everybody else has just been having to fight their way for every single step. Flash is going to go ahead and get the drop on Fluky, get that nade. Daytrade sitting with 2, but they do have 5 kills. They are now the high ground team, but 17 is lined up against a VP. While it does look like Rock is kind of keeping an eye on what's going on with GK. They have Souls that's over into the northeast. It looks like he's trying to do contain line, while RBN is going to be the close guy.
That was actually really nicely done by Rock. They had a big split to make sure that if GK did decide to try to make a push onto them, that they would spot it out, and Souls in perfect position is going to force GK back down into their compound and leave that high ground to Rock. So now Daytrade in vehicles, trying to make a push into the zone. They're trying to make a push into GK's compound. We'll see if they get there. As Virtus Pro eating a little bit of blue zone here.
Oh, Belmoth gets knocked as he jumps out of the vehicle, but I mean, that's just going to be Soul's angle. There's nowhere for him to go. Flash now the only one up. So with this, Rock actually controls a lot of the circle. GK, yes, they do have kind of the southern area, but they're going to have to contend in with 17 or VP, whoever wins that. They are kind of jockeying up against each other as they're going to, there's a funnel point that's kind of happening off the coast with a couple of Rocks that 17 and VP, they just can't separate away from it.
Yeah,
they just have to fight.
Rock is definitely in the superior position right now with that high ground, with the ability to move around, get different angles, but they've got to hit their shots. And that peak battle against Flash, not going to go Sold's way, as the grenade is going to fall harmlessly against the wall, but BL now in a position to keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, 17 trying to push into VP. The Panzerfaust's not going to land. The grenade's not going to land. Beamy with the happy feet, staying above half HP. Ibby going to get spotted. Xiao Bei going to go down to his own grenade. His little ghost of Xiao Wu with the last 2 left alive, but the util just not falling where it needs to.
God.
And he's got another Panzerfaust in hand. Xiao Wu not wanting to leave anything to chance here, getting rid of the last player alive. He shot it out of the air! Are you kidding me? Beamy, you can't do that!
He is just a tank. This guy will not go down. Finally! Look at how much it took, though. This guy eats blue. holds out, tons of nades land on top of him, takes 2 Panzerfaust, and you still have to push him, and it's just going to be 17 walking into Rock in tatters because of it.
And Rock is doing the most right now to take complete control of this circle. Geek leaving it into the compound, maybe just a little bit too late, but PWD is down. Looks like he should be resable. Xiao Wu, once they're done with him, though, nice knock from Spiro onto Solds, though. That might open up a little bit of a gate here. Remember, Solds was the guy that was keeping track of GK and making sure that they don't come up the hill.
If anything, this gives an opportunity for Xiao Wu. Maybe he can find a path into the circle because now Rock has to figure out what they're going to do with this one. It's going to be Quizzy that does step in. Looks like he's trying to see if they can get a flush because really if they can take care of Solds, that opens up a whole new pathing option and really GK can use this backside hill over into the east. And I think that Rock has read this. They're trying to now maneuver themselves back over to stop, maybe even get the res, but if they commit into a res, I think that GK can just pounce on this.
The problem here is that they left one player behind to keep an eye on Xiao Wu, and now all of a sudden with Solds being knocked, this essentially turns this into a 4v2 if GK gets everybody together and pushes in that same route. And the utility once again just not landing here as Haruzen spots out Xiao Wu from range. Solds gets back on his feet. That's huge for Rock. Geek, I think maybe taking a little bit too long to pull the trigger there.
I love Geek just like, Xiao Wu, you're a problem for tomorrow. We'll deal with you. Like, we know you're over there. Rock's the bigger threat to us at the time. So Rock back in control over the center. RBN still lined up against Xiao Wu. Geek coming into this very heady, but yes, also they haven't had to get a lot of kills because nothing's been happening, dude. All of the violence has just been against them and Rock and jockeying for position. The bloodbath was at the bridge.
Yeah, I mean, they were able to get in the zone. They were able to open up a little bit of a pathway there, but they're not taking it for the time being. They still have that compound that they could play around, and I don't think they had a really good read on exactly where the Rock players were as we get a quick peek at the 4 a.m. troubles. As I mean, everybody from trying to make their way from the west over that bridge, it was just an impossible task.
Knocked.
Oh no! That gives an all-new meaning to the term "Ghost Ride the Whip."
It really, like, that's got to be a feels bad, dude.
Do you think Kiss looked down the scope and he was just like, "Wait a minute, is that a dead guy in the back of that car?" Okay.
Production, I love you. Thank you for that.
That's about the freest point I'll ever get. ROC, they've still got 3 men working here. They've left RBN on the south side, keeping eyes on Xiao Wu. So, for the time being, GK just playing around on that ridge line, not fully committing to pushing over just yet because they just don't know what they're pushing into.
Yeah, I mean, and Xiao Wu staying alive for so long has really kind of made Rock's life way harder than they wanted.
I mean, that's a bigger problem for Rock than it is for anybody.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, because, like, GK already knows. They know where he is, and they have to have an idea that maybe one of the members for Rock is still holding over here. So the longer that Xiao Wu stays alive, the opportunities continue to mount for him. He just has to hope that the firefight between GK as well as Rock gets really bloody, and then win the 1v1 versus RBN. There is an opportunity here, and Xiao Wu has spotted out. RBN does get the knock. Oh, spots out another one. What are you going to do? And yes, that is going to be GK. They're running up the hillside. They see the opportunity that Xiao Wu is now provided.
Yeah, he didn't spot RBN. He spotted Solds from range. So RBN's still on Xiao Wu's doorstep. So Xiao Wu can still play those rocks, but GK, as you said, making that push, but BL perfectly in time for it is now Xiao Wu will find Solds again. Haruzen, though, will find BL, gets the knock, gets the flush. GK started to collapse onto Rock, and everything's falling apart for the Latin American squad.
Spyro is shifted down to the south, trying to see if he can contain what's going on with Xiao Wu as well as what's happening with RBN. Rez is now coming out from GK. See if they can kind of squeak this one out off of positioning. They have all the numbers trying to get the Rez back into position. Xiao Wu, though's got the rock. He knows. Can he see any peaks coming out of this? All control now happening for GK.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, Xiao Wu can still run around. This is fine. But if anything, this just plays right into RBN's hands.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit. As yeah, the rest of GK, they're all back on their feet. RBN just waiting for the push, but he's going to get spotted by Spiro, and that's going to be GK with the win onto Rondo. Playing with a coach, they managed to pull off the big victory.
I mean, say what you will, but that is a coach play to pull off the emergency pickup. Go for that position. Sometimes there are benefits outside of just being able to pull the trigger, but Haruzen can even do that.
I mean, that was very, very well done. I mean, you had to figure Rock had the better position that whole time, and they were doing a really good job of holding it, but Geek showing that patience, showing that they needed They knew they needed more information, or they needed an opening, and once that knock came in from Xiaowu, that just sent the floodgates.
The never surrender mindset from Xiaowu really turned a lot of this game on its head. And Rock, you still should be proud. I mean, good position on the leaderboard, very cleanly played, realized where their win conditions were at, but it is time for us to make our way over to Erangel and make our way over to Toffees and Kalaris.
Well, that was absolutely gnarly as we have EMEA once again. Me and Martin, we did our little EMEA rain dance or whatever before the day was going on. We were going woo like little crabs. And we found ourselves 3 wins for EMEA so far. GK.
We found ourselves. You guys are killing it out there.
It's all us. Actually, hashtag thank you, Martin.
Thank you, Martin. He really was. I wish you guys could have seen the crab victory dance that he was doing when EK got that win, because he was. But it has been, as you said in the last set, it seems like an EMEA day. They really turned around after PGS 7, and they look good. GK played that really well. Honestly, there was a moment where I thought this might be Rock's game, and they didn't get aggressive. They didn't lock GK out. GK just played that really well.
I have to agree, because I thought, well, they've got what technically could be the high ground above GK. Maybe there is the lockout here, especially when there was one knock on the side of GK, but then they were able to recover it and then swing out. I think one of the biggest ally for GK was Xiaowu, just causing Rock a ton of problems. They were never really able to clear him out. They were very clearly aware of, like, his presence, just not exactly how to dislodge him.
Yeah, I mean, Rock actually had to dedicate, and I think that's why they didn't deal with GKs. They had to dedicate one person just keeping an eye out on that side, on the river side, and they didn't get active. Now, that is also to say that's sort of Rock style of play. They got some really nice kills here. They saw E-Arena sort of send the car into the river and ran over. Free kills. We're going to enjoy it. Tastes like victory. And they do come away with some great play. I don't know what a Rock is, but these guys are playing like Rocks when it comes to getting to the middle, stamping their spot, and just sitting there.
Playing like Rocks.
Like rocks, like physical rocks.
Oh, you mean like a strong boulder or some kind?
No, I mean I can smell what they've got cooking when it comes towards the end of the match.
Mr. Johnson, yes. Yeah, not too bad.
There's a lot of different rock jokes that we can really roll with here.
There is. I was about to go down the mythical bird route, but...
So you know what it is?
Yeah.
It's a big bird.
It's a big bird.
It's a big bird.
It's a big mythical bird that apparently had the size and, I was about to say girth, not girth, of being able to pick up an adult elephant. So that's kind of impressive, to be fair. And they almost did that, but they couldn't pick up GK.
No, GK was just too big.
Too much bigger than an adult elephant, apparently.
And they walked away.
Stop laughing.
With the big chicken dinner. Huge win for GK. And as you brought up, big day for EMEA across the board. They're finding points. They're getting them all over the place. 17, though, also managed to get a second place there on pure survivability. I think that was 7 kills by the end of that for them.
You saw 17 at the end, laughing there as well. Okay, so actually, once we take a look at these numbers, it is actually kind of a problem that 17 is not only having a great time with it all, but also constantly getting to these late games, because they are our previous champion, and quite honestly, because they keep getting to the late games, I am scared that they can continue this through the whole tournament.
I mean, these are back-to-back events, right? So if there is an argument that there was a time to be able to repeat, it is from 7 to 8, and they look like they're very strong. Even when they get caught early, they're salvaging tons of points. The opposite of that is Geeke, a team that's coming in here saying, man, you know, this was not our roster that we wanted to bring. We're making the best of what we have, and they're finding points. They feel like they're more comfortable right now, and they played that end game very well. Did they catch some circles there in a unique area?
Tiger and Lyric.
No, Lyric.
Welcome back, everyone, as we have 4 in the books, 2 more left to play, and they have been wacky, kooky, one might even say zany. We've got 2 more left to go on Miramar. I am Poor Source. Joining me once again is Match'em. And Matt, it has been an EU dominant type of day. Will that remain the same through 2 more maps?
I mean, it's been interesting because while we have seen a lot of dominant performances coming out from EU, we've also been seeing a very active day trade, a very active 17. It's interesting because I love seeing with the week off the modifications that teams make. That's one of the really cool things about seeing these so close back to back is going, okay, what all failed for us, what all worked. And if anything, Rock feels like the biggest beneficiary of that because they were struggling in 7. And they are really reading circles much better this time.
They are definitely getting a little bit of luck as well too. But you know, you got to make do with the luck that you get. But
you make your own luck sometimes.
Make your own luck
they made a smart call to stay there.
They did. They had that high ground, and I mean, you got to give all the credit in the world to GK as has been kind of beaten to death at this point. I mean, they missed out on having Diffix here, which would have been obviously huge for them, and Haruzen having to fill in and step in has worked out great so far. It took a little bit of time to get the feet under them, but now it seems like things are going in the right direction. We've got 2 more left to play here today, and they are going to be taking place in the sandy dunes of Miramar.
Sandy dunes of Miramar.
Northwest down to the southeast.
Okay, so pretty much no long drops up to the very far northeast is about all you're going to really lose, but you can still make some drops, get some cars, get over there if you really, really want it. With this plane path, though, I don't know. I don't think that we'll see any of those. It's going to be a couple of secondary drops potentially for our eastern-bound teams. Looks like we are going to see Forrest go with a very early drop going for Alcantara. You're winning my heart right now, Forrest, so respect.
Well, we were talking about this going into the game that judging based off of the drops channel, doesn't look like anything's going to be contested here in this one. But again, you can never tell. You never know who's going to start feeling themselves and get a little bit rambunctious. But day 1, maybe a little bit too early to be feeling rambunctious, so I don't think we'll see any unexpected hot drops here, and that is the way it's looking so far.
Vehicle dust-ups are still a thing.
Vehicle dust-ups are still a thing.
Okay.
That might be a thing here with Furia and Theraton 5.
Looks like Furia is just aiming for compound, and T5 is going to go for a bit of a longer drift
over
to
down there.
The trash buildings that are going to be over there that they can kind of pick up. How much do you really want to stall this one out? Furia, man, I like it. Bloodlust, get what you can early.
Absolutely. Here the comms already popping. And the circle is going to go
strong south.
Down south as we get to see just even more of the area south of Los Leones. If you weren't tired of it yet, folks, you get to get even more.
I like this area. It's one of my favorites.
I mean, it is a good area. As areas on Miramar go.
What strikes me is the amount of unplayable we've been getting today has been pretty insane.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I think almost half our games, really, with more than half of the games now that we've made it into Miramar have had chunks of either water or out of map territory there. As you see the multi-view screen, you can go check on your favorite team. It's Theraton 5 just running around. I think Furia decided the best of it was just to go ahead and go on looting.
I figured that this was what they were after, is going after the car. But we've got ourselves a good lead-in going on with Twisted Minds and Perfectix, who had themselves a great PGS.
Hi guys, I'm here with Twisted Minds, Perfectix. All right, that big jump up that ladder from you guys. And how's the 3-time PGS champion feeling this time around? Adding another one in the books for you?
Yeah, I think third match winning was important for us. Now we have a few mistakes, but we will try to fix it. And when we will fix it, I think everything will be okay.
fix it. And that was a very humble response. Thank you, champion. All right.
You're welcome.
We're going to go back to Miramar.
Perfectix always aiming for perfection.
You had to do it.
Had to do. I mean, that was what the whole interview was about.
I don't know what happened here, but either way, Furia back up to full strength. As yeah, I mean, I got to agree with him, man. It's just felt like Twisted has you can't put a pin on it, but they just haven't felt as clean, dominant, confident, pushing into fights, just controlling their area that they're in, the way that we have seen them in the past when they were really, obviously doing what they were doing last year, which was insane. But, as he said, getting that first win, getting kind of your sea legs and starting to get that snowball rolling is, I think, exactly what they needed. So would not be surprised to see them put together something here in these final 2 games on Miramar as Little Ghost try to do a stop and scout. He's going to get shot at, I believe that was E-End from range that was taking those little pops over towards him.
It's really interesting, speaking of T1, because, man, they have been involved in so many of these early game and mid-game kind of control points, and they've been playing them well. It's just right as soon as we step into the later stages of the game, it feels like points just, they can't find them again.
Yeah.
Then maybe that's almost like they're making too many enemies in the lobby too early, because it feels like we've been very focused in on a lot of them and what's happening with them in the mid-game. And right now, for as much as we've been seeing the action involved, for them to be in 12th feels weird.
I mean, it's feels like it's been rough for everybody, though. I mean, you look up and down the leaderboard, our first place team is 36 points. Like, there's no one team. Look at them. There's no one team that's really just kind of taking control of this thing by the short hairs and just running away with it, as we so often see during the group stages. So a lot of parity in this lobby up and down the leaderboard, as Bestia will take a few passing shots at Geeke. Now, Geeke, they've only got 3 down here on the southern row. Haruzen's still in Los Leones, so they're a little bit split up right now.
I mean, play coastline, and if anything, they'll find themselves a crate, so that's kind of cool.
Oh,
but I guess maybe anchor position could have been something off of drop. I didn't actually see what happened with Geeke to have them kind of set up this way, but I mean, Haruzen is actually leaving Los Leones, and it doesn't feel like there's too many good options. He's going to have to do a very long wrap. Specifically, he's going west, though. I would think that maybe an eastern wrap would be faster, but I guess he just doesn't like leaving the eastern side of Los Leones because those hills tend to have people playing from them, potentially more traps. So while this is longer, probably safer.
Yeah, I mean, just getting a read that, I mean, 5 minutes in is international lobbies, man. 5 minutes in, you've got almost half the lobby, more than half the lobby already in position towards center circle. That's just the way it works out. So Haruzen quickly trying to make his way down there through Chumacera. Might run into Rock if he's not careful. VP, meanwhile, they are about as dead center of this thing as you can get.
Yeah, this is pretty much everybody should be familiar with this at this point. We've got Resort, I guess, kind of the center. It's really hard to say given how the fact that we've got so much water still in play. Partona's still in play, but I'm not going to fall for that bait.
No?
You've done it to me like 4 times. I Sandstorm even going over Partona.
For you.
I mean, hey, look, it does look tasty. And how fitting is it that it looks like a chicken leg with winter chicken dinner? Come on.
I mean, I had to feel like it was intentional, right? Maybe.
You have to, right? It's kind of like Aaron Gill being a rabbit.
Exactly. Aaron Gill looks like a rabbit. I don't care what anybody says. It's always looked like a rabbit jumping over an egg.
Interesting little skirmish we have going on between T5 and 4 Angry Men. Looks like they got caught in a rotation. So HS now down, and God V, can you hit it onto Rosted? Rosted looks like he's actually just going to hop in the vehicle and go and say, okay, that's enough to at least scare me. Wait, hey, a couple of shots are starting to connect.
I think HS ended up in a little bit of an unfortunate situation there. But, yep, we'll find out what happens a little bit later. They get a little bit of a disconnect onto their big fraggers. God V will go and
Haruzen's
rejoin the rest of the squad. Haruzen,
one day.
I mean, he got lit up by Rock though. It's actually amazing that he managed to make his way through that. He's got to stop down here and heal up eventually, but you know, you got scared deer syndrome right now, right? Like, you already got shot. You don't know where to stop, where is safe to even pause to heal, but this looks like as good a spot as any.
I mean, this is a sweaty rotation. It's pretty scary because he is playing solo with 63 alive.
It's not great.
And the rest of his squad has their backs up against the coastline as far south as you can go. So it's not like they're feeding him any information. They're like, oh, yeah, Bestia is kind of close. Like, there's a team in Bestia. They probably don't know it's Bestia yet. That's going to be just to their west. Good luck. I mean, there's only going to be a couple of people that are probably posted up on the high ground to get to us. It'll be fine.
Yeah, T's and P's, baby.
But look, goes
Thoughts
back.
and prayers. You
if
can make
Hiruzen dies early, he can coach afterwards.
There you go. 5-head thinking already.
Yeah.
Well, Olympus going to hop into the glider for a little bit of eye in the sky work for Forrest once again. And meanwhile, we also got an E-pickup coming out of El Pozo. That's going to be Bagel Pie cutting right across the center of the zone. Will be interesting to see where they decide to go, because everything towards the center is already full, but they should be well aware of that 8 minutes and 30 minutes into this game.
This is an interesting thing we've seen as well for everybody that has the map stream open. Twisted, as we've seen the circle every time, has actually gone Los Leones and then moved south out of Los Leones. The only team that feels pretty comfortable playing around there. I mean, I think that we also did see Falcons do a similar shift, just a bit more to the east. But usually you see a hesitation to go into Los Leones, but the pathing down to the south with those oil derricks and stuff like that, moving into the mines, is pretty strong. So really making the commitment in for this circle is a very heady play, and no surprise that Batulins and the rest squad likes it.
Yeah, those oil storage containers, oil silos, I don't know what we call them. Oil
derricks, oil silos,
yeah, whatever you want to call them. It just seems like we see a lot of teams get caught up in fighting around those if the circle does decide to end up hugging a little bit more to the south. So really, it's like, as long as your timing's good, and because you get pinned by the little area that 17 is in right now, and then you've got the high ground where Navi's at, and everybody kind of has eyes down in that general location. So it's a tough spot to play, but as long as you're on time with your rotations, you probably make it through. Is
5-head play.
A little bit of a Rezon deal.
5-head play.
What's
Hiruzen actually went to Partona.
Oh.
And he could potentially drive around, but there's a world where he could actually just choose to swim over to his teammates.
I mean, maybe you got a boat.
Maybe you pick up a boat. Yeah, this.
There you go.
Oh, hey, look, just a little bit of car jockeying. That's fine.
It almost feels like you have to do the seat swap at that point, right? Well, the circle does pop, and it's going to be about as safe for everyone as anyone could hope here. Hakatori getting the shots into Theraton 5. Not going to be enough to get the knock, and fortunately for Theraton 5, they get to keep Rossiter Jr. alive.
Okay, so now the rotation is going to start getting pretty bad. We've got Navi that is collapsing onto T5. 17's going to have to deal with a ton of threats as Begapa's going to try to land. Looks like they do have the close range threat in 17, but they steal it away.
They actually get everybody on the ground. Okay. Shout out to them. That was probably a little tight there.
Two Heart's heart was beating pretty hard on that one.
Yeah, he's lucky he's got two of them, man, because the other one just had a heart attack. As you see 17, this is the spot that I was concerned about, right? This is where there were Twisted Minds are going to come into issues, is because this pushing through this spot where you got Bagel Pie over there, you got 17 right here. It's just a really tough pathing. Now they don't have to leave Los Leones just yet, so if they decide to kind of wrap around to that eastern side and favor that a little bit more, that's still an option.
Forrest, I think, has spotted. I think Forrest has spotted Hiruzen, and they have a glider, and I think are kind of chasing to figure out, like,
Olympus, there's no way you're coming down here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, they've spotted him out, and so they at least know. But hey, I think that's Spyro that's taking shots to fend in.
Okay, good.
Oh, he's gonna do it. Hiruzen, make landfall. You have made it, my friend.
Easy for Geek as they left Spyro behind to make sure that he had left a car for the homie. And now they can start making their way up and get everybody back together. Nobody then going to be playing this southern coast as Geek has left. And Forest, meanwhile, looks like they have found themselves a little bit of a spot here just to the west of Resort.
What do you think that Forest was thinking when they saw somebody leaving Portona in a boat? They were like, I mean, respect?
Like, man, we came in late. You guys must have come in even later. I don't know. I wouldn't think that was even possible. But here we go. T1. Holding down the compounds just off to the west of this whole Bagel Pie 17 scenario. So a lot of room still left in this zone, considering we still have 63 left alive. Nobody really breathing on top of each other just yet. Even just looking at the map, there's only a few random shots being sent long range between teams.
Well, we do have Forest that is playing a bit more aggressive into the Resort line, but I think that they're just playing the foothills to the west of it.
Yeah.
Geek has so much control, and with Leonis and Resort still in play, this has just got a plethora of places that you can play from. So that's why we're not really seeing a lot of firefighting, because since it's mostly hills, coming out of Los Leones, sloping down into the coast that's to the south, it's made for a lot of kind of denied sightlines, and it's really just more over into the west where we see Day Trade getting harassed a bit from Forest as well as E Arena. Everything else is quiet, and that's nerve-wracking.
It's also this terrain is great, and it's tailor-made for doing these 2-2 splits, these 3-1-1 splits, so you can take over a lot of real estate and get a lot of information here. As we see Furia popping the E pickup, it'll be interesting to see if they decide to take it. If they do, it might just be Haven doing a little pre-scouting for them, waiting to see if this thing hard shifts. That is the question on everybody's mind. Is it going to go north? Is it going to go south? Is it going to go right to the center? Okay, that's a good scenario for everyone involved here.
Yeah, really, E Arena and Rock might have it a bit harder because it is more open sightlines to the west. That's why we're seeing Rock kind of wrap a bit more to the north. Oh, Bestia, they want to get out of Resort, and they don't have a ton of options, but we did see Bestia set up a very interesting defense in PGS 7 in the mines.
Good shots from Nick C. Goodness gracious, that MK12. He'll at least get the tires. Unfortunately, won't get the flushes, but that was still really good shooting on the part of Nixie, as you can hear him. He's letting
Nixie
him know.
Popping off, yeah. All right. I guess the energy is just getting infectious at this point.
Well, they get the one flush, and Mime should be able to get back on his feet. As, they lose Silzen, but DraftKings still in T5, I think, already operating as a little bit of a cave troll here. We'll see if that gets a little bit more love. That E pickup did get popped by DNF, but nobody's taking it.
It's oddly poetic that Bestia is in 16th place and in the mines at the same time.
They are definitely in we're about to send them back to the mines if they don't get some more points here shortly. Kiss, the rest of Forest. Remember, they came in to that western side of Resort. They are 3 alive. They lost Olympus, but they are in a compound that they are sharing with Salute. And now here we go. This is what we were waiting for, to see if T5 and Bestia get close to each other. Looks like it might pop off.
Yeah, kind of no real big push coming out. No concerted efforts on either side. This is kind of a standoff still position. This corridor becomes the area that pretty much you just kind of scout against each other on, unless things just get really heavy.
Yeah, Bestia doesn't want to push into this.
Nah. These high ground angles and stuff like that you can get into this corridor is just it's a bloodbath.
Yeah, just hold on to the exits. Have your escape plan ready to go, and we'll just let Theraton 5 hold down the inside for the time being. As 61 alive, 15 minutes in, Phase 3. This has been a very kind circle for most of these guys.
Very slow Miramar.
Absolutely, yeah, no. So hopefully we see more of this, as it's letting some of these teams that maybe had a little bit of a slower start get their feet under them.
So looking in, power positions, we talked about the oil derricks a little while ago. That's where 17's at. It's center. So that's going to be really good for them. A 2-1-1 split for T1 just across the fields to the west, going to be very good. Just to the southeast of 17's positioning is going to be VP. And, VP just 2 points back behind. It's going to be Geek. Geek is going to get control over the east. They were a bit late in timings while they were in the circle quite early, just trying to save Private Haruzen and get them regrouped. So to the west, where there is the least amount of cover and the most fields.
Okay, I was really liking Navi's position here too. They had complete control over that high ground, the hills just to the south of Leonis, and you can see them all kind of getting everybody together. I'll imagine we'll see them make their way down. They've probably had something scouted out for a while, but Furia, Geek, all going to have to backfill. Is Navi just going to send it right between 17 and VP?
And this is what I'm worried about. T1 has been running this 2-1-1 for quite a while, and I don't know if T1 is prepped on defense for this angle, but it looks like Navi is just going to go ahead, send into this bit of cover. Little Ghost is going to spot out Fairest, get the knock onto him, so at least managing to get somewhere that's kind of safe and only cost Fairest.
That's saying something. You hate losing Fairest, obviously, but the fact that they were able to make that cross in between those two teams and only lose one is a little bit of a blessing, as we see still a number of teams on the outside trying to fight their way in. Furia, Geek, Theraton 5, Bestia now finally in vehicles, leaving the mines, and they're trying to head down south, but the south is occupied as we see a little bit of a replay here. Oh, no, this is how they lost Olympus? Tigger!
Tigger.
You madman.
I love you. Just fall all the way.
Wah, wah.
I don't know. The slow glide down always gets me. All right, GK is trying to wrap, and not a lot of options. Bestia already sent it in, but it's going to be right into the Freaks. Freaks with 4 up, moving into phase number 4. Feels like it's been a minute since we were able to say that. How much do they want to extend out? They still have Forest right next to them as well, so they want to surrender the territory that they have inside the circle. Bestia, though, they can't let them be right on top of you. Mime does spot out deal, but Salute gets the knockback onto Mime. Vinny now is trying to make sure that he defends up, does get the knock on to Heaven, and this is getting messy quick because I think it is actually going to be Geeky Spyro that actually spots us at range. He's going to be harassing both sides of it.
Yeah, DNF just not able to finish that as quickly as they needed to.
Oh,
and
Geeky's
losing Guman, and now Geeky, I think they see that. They're going to send at least 2. They've left Quizzy and Spiro behind, but they're at least going to find a little bit of room to play here on the south side. Bestia able to get one guy back up. Mime slowly bleeding out. Heaven will get taken down by Vinny, and that is good stuff from Bestia to keep them down. And now all of a sudden, PWD strikes at the perfect time.
GK just beautifully read that. They saw an opportunity, pounced on it, and it was fast. Now it is just 2 members up for the Freaks, and Guman and Salute. They've got themselves a bit of a shack that they're going to be hunkered down in. GK just, that was clean.
Man, Freaks again just not looking right in the first day of group play. I mean, remember, they had a bad day 1 last time. They turned it on in day 2, made the grand final where they were in contention for the win at the very end. They come in second, but the first day of groups, man, I guess it's just not there for them as they're down to just 2. The circle pops, and it's going to center up on, well,
T1?
Kind of hard to not center up on T1 given the split that they're working with here, but they've got to make a decision here.
Looks like they are going to go ahead and make the send around. Na'Vi is caught up looking at what's going on with a bit more of the extraneous movements happening over in the east. So just good timing on T1 with that hillside. They're going to use it for cover. They are going to be able to regroup. Rating's going to be playing to the south. So really, the death funnel is going to be up into the northeast, where it is going to be 17 Gaming, Twisted, Furia, Long still up for 4 Angry Men, VPT5 all pathing. GK also needs to kind of shift over into the west, where we see Freaks and Forest maybe gatekeeping out. Day Trade also, they're going to have to kind of brute force their way into the circle, but they don't have far to go.
Yeah, that eastern side is where I'm really got my eyes on right now. I feel like Na'Vi is about to have a lot of friends because there's just not a lot of routes to get into this next zone.
Longs, no.
Oh, there you go. Longs will get spotted out by Xiao. So that's another kill picked up for 17, up to 2. But they've got to find a way to get inside the zone. Furia, they're hopping in vehicles. Theraton 5, they are taking their time. Meanwhile, Twisted Minds coming from the north side. Rock left 1 behind, and Souls was trying to hold the line, but he's going to get spotted and taken down. The rest of Rock will retreat back into the compound. Furia, meanwhile, they're back on the move. They're getting right onto 17 Gaming, where they crash. Lil Ghost is having to hold the line by himself.
There is nowhere for him to go. He's just got a bit of cover, but does hit the shot on the 1. Can he spot the next? Takes a ton of damage. Does get the second knock. Furia now in a shambles position as the rest of 17 is coming to reinforce. Lil Ghost does go down. Zhao Wu goes down as well. We're starting to see Furia trying to right the ship.
Furia got some fraggers on that squad. Zakraken, though, I think the last one on his feet. He's listening for any sounds of footsteps, any sign that 17 is going to be peeking around the corner, taking his time with this one, but you can see he does not have a lot of time left to spend. 17 will try to go for this res onto Lil Ghost, get him back on their feet, see if they can get up to 4 strong. Meanwhile, while that was going on, Virtus Pro and Geeky crashed into the same spot just on the eastern side of Na'Vi, and they got wiped out.
T5 also having a very difficult rotation of their own. They're in some trouble as they're being kind of gate kept out with the way that the new circle lays. It's going to be Freaks. They're going to be bumping into Kraken. Does spot out what's going to be going on, but he has also been spotted. Oh, that was almost bad as the Panzerfaust on the open does go down, and that was a statement coming out from 17, bringing out the Panzerfaust after the solo.
Indeed, up to 6 kills now, and they have that eastern side to themselves. They got a little bit of a pathway here. They are the winners coming out of there, and without taking a single loss, they are still 4 strong. On the south, T5 still trying to make their way in through the blue. Forest doing a little bit of gatekeeping, and you got the additional wild card of Thanadol in there from Day Trade as the new circle pops, and that's good news for 17.
Kind of. I mean, they've got the field that's in front of them. Navi and T1 should have a lot of vision on that as well as Rock. T5,
nice spray, Ranger.
Ranger X, continuing to put in the work, but Kiss, I mean, Force Natural Gaming, they are really finding their element more and more as we see them play. It just gets cleaner and cleaner. But the issue is, I don't know how well you can defend. They're getting harassed from behind. Force is getting shot by Navi. I mean, sure, T5 goes down, but it's not like it's going to be Force lasting too much longer. If anything, this just provides opportunity for Day Trade to get more territory.
I mean, this spot for Navi has been working out pretty well for them. And remember, this was kind of a full send from that high ground. They had to lose Fairest to get it, and they have managed to hold it very well against all comers. And now you still have a few members from Forest and Day Trade on the south side, and now 17's on the move as well. Where are they going to go? It looks like they might be looking to get a little bit closer to T1.
Okay, Twisted, Rock lined up against each other. RBN is inside the circle in the warehouse, but the other members having to deal with Twisted right on top of him. But Tulins is playing more into the northeast, so the rest of Twisted just trying to brute force their way in. Looks like Vegapaw also trying to make a path over into the east, but they're caught up right in between several members of what's going to be going on with 17 Gaming. Xiao Wu entirely behind all of them and going to be able to dismantle this. I mean, the assistance that 17 is going to be able to hold the rest of the squad back. Can Xiao Wu manage to take apart all of Vegapaw himself, though?
Oh, my goodness. It looked like he was close, and Sosid will spot him out. The grenades just not falling for Xiao Wu. The Rocks keeping Vegapaw in this one, and they get everybody back on their feet. So 17 now just down to 3 as Twisted Minds continues to try to work through Rock's compound. It's down to just Fantastico and BL.
Okay, now Vegapaw, you have to defend in. What can you do off of it? Finally seeing the fact that they've got themselves position to play from, but it is hard to fight their way through. While this is going to be happening, a couple of long-range shots going to be coming out from the third parties. Jalbei has to make sure he holds in, but it's going to be a beautiful nade coming from Park Pro that gets the knock on the 2.
Park Pro on time with a perfectly placed grenade. They will flush those kills out and secure those points, as well as Navi now starting to send Hakatori over here to get involved, but he's going to get knocked low, down to 3 HP, and he's still peeking. What an absolute madman.
Just the monster he believes himself to be. No fear. He's got full defense from the rest of his squad back behind him. Forest, we're trying to encroach into where Navi's at, so that's going to be onto what's going on with State as well as Sosid. So, with this, Vegapaw do fight themselves tooth and nail into the circle. T1 do manage to finish out what's going on in the west. E-Arena now down. Type did go down for T1, but he should be resable. Twisted did get control of that northern area with Rock, but now they've got vision on Vegapaw.
They also lost Batulins in the process, so they are down to just 3. And as soon as this circle pops, you have to imagine they're going to leave that compound, and they've got nothing but a wide open field in front of them. Vegapaw is there. 7-7 Owo, the last player alive for 17. That circle is going to go well for him. As Navi down to 3, they still haven't had to clear out what's on their south side. Day Trade, meanwhile, they're still just working on their ridgeline as Lou will spot out end.
T1 has shifted all the way up into the face of where Twisted is going to be trying to enter the circle from. So it looks like maybe they were trying to pounce. Heather's already getting harassed. 17 Gaming's last member up in 7-7, just kind of hunkered down. Forest still has an approach back behind Navi, so Hakatori had to step away from that angle, so that's going to give some form of reprieve to 17 Gaming's last member, hunkered down, hiding right now, praying the fact that everybody else has to fight around him.
Ooh, Type going to catch Lou out. That leaves Twisted down to just Example and Perfectix. It's raining very low. Not enough to get the knock. You see Perfectix just in that open field. Would love to just stay silent and stay hidden, but unfortunately he's got to take those shots. And T1, this is just, I mean, kind of taking everybody down. They do get Ian back on his feet, so they're back up to full strength. Day Trade now starting to look over towards Navi.
This is a very strong Day Trade as well, as they haven't been involved in a lot of these fights, so they're coming in very strong. Twisted Minds gets eliminated. Vegapaw finds more, and I mean, I was almost counting Vegapaw out, but they have fought their way into this, and they have earned every single one of these kills and every bit of this positioning.
All right, it's the story of two sides of the road right now. T1 versus Vegapaw and the solo player of 7-7 Owo on the north side. On the south, the full 4-man squad of Day Trade taking the shots at Scappy from Forest, and you have the 3-man squad of Navi. Both sides of the road are going to have to come to an end here. 7-7 will get spotted out, and he's going to go down just after Forest Natural gets eliminated. And now it's Navi versus Day Trade on the south side.
43 versus 36 on the leaderboard. First versus fourth. But Na'Vi is a bit outnumbered on this angle. They have to be careful because Begapal looks like they're trying to cross the road right now, encroaching back behind. It's going to be based off the push coming out from T1, so now Na'Vi's flank is quite vulnerable.
Oh, wow.
But hey, Hakatori, man, he's feeling it, and he ain't afraid.
And Begapal just sending it across the road, and they get away with it. They're going to come up right behind Na'Vi, but Na'Vi will spot them out. Park Pro goes down. Akan, the last player left alive. Na'Vi with 8 kills now. They have retaken over their hold on first place. Akan goes down to EN, and T1 starting to play that roadside, but they've got to be careful. They don't want to overpeak.
Well, this is an interesting road specifically because it's high ground, so it gives a lot of cover and denies angles from a lot. Usually the road is the last place that you want to be.
Yeah.
So you can see that there's a couple of ridge lines on the opposing side away from Daytrade that they can really make a couple of good peaks around. That's why Daytrade keeps trying to shift after Na'Vi. They don't want to push the top of that hillside because they've had to contend with T1 multiple times, and T1 has just been roaming. They now have control over everything into the north and have got themselves up into 9th place.
T1 4 alive, complete control over the north side of the road, but they are far from being certain winners here. It is going to be a tough battle, as it looks like they're just clearing out, making sure that there are no snakes in their midst, making sure the Daytrade didn't sneak across the road. No Flash and Belmoth just lying prone on that western side. Hakatori starting to look over in that direction, but you can see the terrain that they're dealing with. It's really hard to spot out anybody.
I mean, it's 3 different contained areas, just the way the hill kind of recesses down. Daytrade's got their spot. They can't really see a lot of what's going on. Na'Vi can't really either. That's why T1 is exploiting the position.
Going to the south.
They're just starting to see, okay, how much more territory can we buy? What can we get? What's the good position? Where's going to be the winning spots? And really nothing that Na'Vi nor Daytrade can do because they know they're right next to each other. They can't risk stepping up for the firefight yet.
Really like what T1's doing here. They have Heather and Ian working that high ground on that side of the road. They will spot out Flash, and Belmoth now by himself. He's going to get spotted out as well. Don't take a single knock there. T1, 9 kills, and now they turn their attention towards Na'Vi. What a shot as they find the knock on Astead.
I mean, T1 ain't done yet, but with this, Hakatori looks like he is leaning more into the south. There is 1 member down in T1. It looks like he wants to see if he can exploit that. Nade ends up just a bit short, and that is going to be Type committing into the res over here. But look at the reinforcements on this angle. Raining now playing back into the north, realizing the fact that he might have an angle to really kind of gatekeep out anything from Na'Vi. Na'Vi's got their back up against the blue zone with Stay Down. It is just the steps coming up from Sosa and Hakatori goes down to Type.
Beautiful shots from Type, and now it's all down to Sosa. He was not able to get the res onto Stead. They have him in the smoke cloud. They've got him pinned against the wall, and they'll get spotted. That's going to be a T1 victory here in match number 5.
Hype for Type, man. He was absolutely explosive at the end of that game. He was racking up kill upon kill, and T1's got to feel good after that one. I mean, if anything, they just needed something on that leaderboard.
I mean, that was a tough one, too. Like everything that was going on the north side of the road, there was a few times that it felt like they were kind of dead to rights, but fortunately they came upon Twisted Minds and some of these other teams that were playing from the hard cover when they were at their weakest point, and, you know, they were able to get the reses onto the knocks.
I mean, T1 had control over pretty much the in-game circle quite early.
Yeah.
Like, I would say around circle 4, and they left that out to go after fields and get kills and really just make sure that they could cement in a good set of plays. So with this, let's go ahead and get ourselves ready for the last game of the day. But he is having to like move and then counter move and like lightly scout. And Erangel is like, nah, hot drops, bro. Let's go.
hot drop thing. Well, not going to see that here on Miramar most likely. Although the way things are playing out, I would not be surprised to see if some people start getting a little bit more active in early games, scrapping come tomorrow, especially if they're in group. What do we got tomorrow? BC. Yeah, so especially if they're Group B, trying to make a move. or if there's anybody in Group B that you just prefer not to see make it to the grand final, I wouldn't be surprised.
I said that with so much confidence. Now I'm sitting here going, yeah,
hey,
BC?
I believe you.
Because usually we end on AC, right? It's usually A, B, B, C,
A, B, B, C.
So if they've changed it for whatever reason, I'm just going off of tradition.
Well, just remember this, guys. If they did change it and it's wrong, it's all Matchup's fault.
It is. It's totally mine. I own all of my mistakes.
Why don't you just press the start button, man? Let's go. Too
Look,
much talk.
I'm sorry. I like doing Southern accents, so I'll push the button whenever I get done with my accent. Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, now we get the complete opposite of what we
North.
We are
Love
going
it.
off to the north. Furia in dead center. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4 teams. 5 teams, I guess, if you can include Bagopop, but they're going to El Pozo, only in zone. So a lot of people are going to be having to make these rotations in a very long way.
I mean, Cabrera, Oasis, we still have Cruz de Valle. I mean, and yes, we do have kind of that whole situation going on around where Furia is at. We still have Hacienda San Martin. So this is going to be a bit different, but also kind of still the same. When we look over into the west, a lot of high ground. Don't be surprised if you see Batulin's probably on a high ground block, seeing if you can spot rotations over there.
Probably shouldn't be playing one-man squads if you're not good enough to play one-man squads.
As we make our way from Cabrera to the east, it starts
I know
to
that's
flatten out a lot more, specifically going over into the north as well. So
I know it's a hot take, but that's what I believe.
Once we move over to the east, because it opens up a lot. So this is going to be a lot more long-range skirmish than we saw in the last game.
I already see Furia. They drop over in this water treatment area. I already see them heading more towards the center of the zone to that little compound just south of Oasis Mountain. Good compound to take early, as they do a little bit of a 2-2 split, it looks like, between Haven and Gizera. I'm sure the rest of the boys will come soon. Meanwhile, HS doing a little pre-scouting for 4 a.m. as they finish looting up in Hacienda.
Yeah, I mean, interesting that Hacienda is one of the most southern sections in this circle. It feels like it's been a while since we've seen that
right.
in Miramar. As it's going all the way up to the north. Does it touch the northern wall? Do we still have unplayable
I think
in this
so.
one?
I mean,
think
as is tradition for today, I think maybe 10% of this circle is unplayable. Maybe 5.
mean, really, probably closer to like 50 to 20, because who goes north of Oasis? That's just like death trap.
That's fair.
Circle, go north of Oasis, please.
Please, let's see it. I love it. No, I mean that is where rotations happen, and not much.
A lot of car jousts will happen because there's the sand dunes over there, and that's one of the things I love.
Yes. Well, get a look at Forest as they finish up their looting. And where are they on the map right now? They are just off. They started off in Campo Militar, so they're getting a little bit close to HSM. Now, remember, HSM, rest of his team slowly arriving. You should be able to see them on the mini-map here shortly, but he is being very, very careful, because I think he may have heard the vehicles from Forest just ahead of him, as he's still doing a little scouting here with that 4X M16, OG DMR.
I mean, he is not sitting good on kind of the loot situation. So with this, God, V is
gotta
going
get
to
your spot in zone, man.
I mean, smart call off of it, and Forest doesn't really want to probably take too much right now because they don't have a lot of information on what's going on in this area. Water treatment is kind of an interesting area to play around, specifically the strength of this compound, because if we do see this go east, you're going to get a lot of good vision control.
Yeah, and obviously that road that runs to the west of water treatment, a big player, is Furia already in a 2-2 split along that roadside, so they were very, very quick to make sure they took the spot that they wanted. But HS now getting a little bit close on the hillside to Kiss, right on the line as the shots come through, but Kiss will get the headshot and get the knock, and now will turn his attention over to Godvi as Olympus will get him. 4 a.m. falling apart in the early game.
Down to just 2 a.m., make it 1 a.m., as this is the absolute catastrophe for 4 a.m. on this run. I mean, they've just got to kind of surrender this. They have to assume. I'm kind of surprised that Forest isn't kind of over-pushing this. I was going to say, they have to assume that they've got numbers advantage, but Tomu, good sneaky angle, using the wall to peek around, going to hit a couple more shots in retaliation, but I don't think that he really wants more than just to slow them down.
I mean, got his 1 point.
Oh, HS maybe?
Maybe HS working around to the back of the wall. Maybe Forrest lost track of it. They're going to go for the res. Baron is just kind of slowly healing up by himself. So Forrest will lose 1 player, but now Atong Mu will have a shotgun rider in HS.
Good read on probably where the res would be going or where the crawl would be happening at. Baron playing the opposing side. Yeah, there's that. Now down to just one, and they should pretty much know where he is, especially because the crawl instantly turned that direction. You can't do that. You can't do that.
He's not over this way, I swear.
That's like just selling out your soul right there. Don't do that.
Well, Olympus actually feels like being the doing the lion's share. Whoa, okay, Baron. Right on the staircase, and Forrest gets 4 quick points. They lose Kiss in the process, but that's a worthwhile trade, I think, if you're Forrest.
I mean, hey, Forrest gets some good loot, and now the only downside to that is they were busy looking at 4 Angry Men, and the Freaks did get pretty close to them in the north. So now they're going to try to harass them a bit further away, but I think that was a bit closer than really Forrest wanted the Freaks to get anyway.
Sure. I mean, they still have a great spot to play in this zone, even though they are down to 3, and that's should be defendable for the most part here. As we check in with Navi on the south side, they backfill 4 a.m. and take over Hacienda. There's still 3 teams coming from the south. You got Bestia, Daytrade, and E-Arena. Meanwhile, Rock and T1 wrapping on that western side of the zone, getting a little bit close to each other. I think T1 may have spotted out that trailing member of Rock, so they're going to go ahead and take a different path in.
Rock is actually doing a stop off at a very interesting compound that we don't get a chance to see much, so they should be pretty much fine over there. I mean, Gk, who's just had a great day in and of themselves, is like respect where respect's due. Them, Na'Vi, are just, they're making the most out of that break. That's all I can really say about it.
Absolutely. PWD letting everybody know what he's made of here. Quizzy kind of doing the same, as I think they'll spot out Beamy, the front man for Virtus Pro. The rest of the squad still off to the south in the city of San Martin proper. So Beamy just kind of trying to find a spot for them to play from. Na'Vi still flexing their legs a little bit here, coming a little bit more towards the north from Hacienda.
It's a bit of a problem, though.
T1 and Rock.
They are right on the edge of the zone. T1 is pathing on the exact same angle for Rock. Ian does take a little bit of damage on his vehicle, but Rock, I think, is just going, no, shoo away. This is our Rock. You can't have it. So T1, just continue way to the north.
Get those tires, bro. Get the tires. There you go. Heather going to spin out, and he's going to be dead to rights. Nicely done. Santastico will pick off Heather. And now Ian in a little bit of a spot of trouble here. Is BL going to spot him? And now good shots from Ian, though, to return, force BL to move. Will retreat back to the cover of that Bronco.
It almost looked like T1 was thinking about trying to go for a res on Heather, but Solt's not going to let that happen. Boy, he's like, no, I want this point, and I want it badly.
Absolutely not.
That means that Raining is kind of disconnected from the rest of the squad. Luckily, even if he goes back down to Cabrera, there's nobody there.
Souls had to hit some shots there, as he emptied an entire clip into the vehicle and didn't land one. So it looks like they'll spot out Raining retreating to the south. But yeah, like you mentioned, T1 split here.
T1 has no loot, man. That was like 30 bullets.
Yeah, not a lot. It's not looking great. Well, Geeke, they've collapsed, and they've found themselves a nice little ridge to where, oh, no, that Bronco.
Yeah.
Maybe you can flip it.
It did be a turtle. I think that's what they were trying to do a moment ago. But, I mean, it's not the worst.
Ibby Skydiver?
Oh.
He's all by himself. Going to do a little bit of scouting as...
Well, Nixie is also in a vehicle coming back this direction, so but he can't make it there in time. It's got to be just EB if they're going to do anything.
Luca Rux, Nixie, and Beamy all in vehicles as the helicopter has arrived, and Ibby will be in the air.
Timing's a bit interesting on this one, as usually you want to set it so that way you get picked up right as the new circle pops. So just a couple of seconds off on timing. Don't think it should be too big of a problem.
There you go.
Circle pretty much stays center to the north. So that's pretty much what they were wanting to get information on. Oasis, still inside, though. I love it.
Oasis? Oh, yes, please. As Begapa, the closest one to it, they're playing around the cliffsides just off to the southwest of a T1, still wrapping around. Is 17 going to get a little bit close to Virtus Pro. Ibby has dropped down from that E pickup, found a spot to play. The rest of the gang needs to arrive quickly, though, as Furia still in that 2-2 split. They have shots on this, and yeah, Beamy, that's not the place you want to crash your car, my friend.
Oh, yeah, this is a bit of an issue. 17 with that regroup over into the east. You've just got to get out of this. I mean, Furia on both sides of them. T5 also pretty close. 17 does have the high ground, but with this, the Freaks are still running a 2-1-1, pretty separated. So even if we do see VP kind of right the ship in position, they can't go much further. They just got to stop off.
Yeah, see how far 17 decides to go into this, as they've got Forest just off to their east, DNF off to their north, but not a lot of little ridge lines that they could play with here, as Baron's going to be forced to pull back down. Team 5, meanwhile, will pull in just off to the south of that northernmost half of the 2-2 Furia split. So Furia have that split going, but they've got a lot of company around them.
Yeah, really also kind of day trade. They're getting kept out by where we see GK at. Arena, Rock, while they did get that kill on the T1, are behind in pacing for getting into the circle versus T1, as T1 is regrouping in Oasis. So if anything, Arena is definitely going to need this glider because they need information. They are coming into this pretty blind.
Yeah, no, definitely is. You mentioned Rock, that big wide split on that northwestern side after taking the fight to T1. As we see GK still trying to make their way in. They lost Quizzy, and PWD and Spiro down to next to nothing. Batulin's in a perfect position to take advantage. PWD gets taken down by example, and I think now Twisted Minds realizing that they have these guys at a disadvantage, but they are in that 2-2 split, so Batulin's and Perfectix can't really afford to just blind push, especially now that they're getting shot in the back by RBN from Rock.
Yeah, and that's a really hard hillside to push down because you're just going to get punished. Yeah, I was going to say the third party is they just run amok on you.
Yeah.
And you can see the Perfectix, he wants it, but just look at the ground exploding around him. The cost is too high, so they'll just let the res happen, and now they've just got some unruly neighbors.
Nice grenade there, even though it didn't land, but Twisted Mind's still up on a 4 strong. They've got a nice little split with GK right on their doorstep. Rock arriving as well shortly. So Batulins and Perfectix might have to make a decision here about whether they want to stick this out. Now they know they were getting shot from the west rather, and now Rock in vehicles starting to head over in this direction. Example in Lou, they might be, and that's a badly timed sandstorm here for them as well.
Well, I don't know. It depends on what they're wanting to do because they are kind of playing a bit more into the west now. If anything, it looks like Twisted as well as Begapa were wanting to take shots in. I think that Begapa is on the outskirts of the sandstorm, so finally they're going to lose vision. So Rock can use this a bit. I'm just curious on if BL stays there. And, Arena, you're going to get so much information from your glider in this spot.
You're going to eat a little bit of blue and eat a little bit of sand as the circle cuts, unfortunately, away from Oasis, and we get a little bit of water treatment action. 17 dead center here as you see RBN. As soon as the sandstorm leaves and the circle pops, Rock back on the move under the watchful eyes of Twisted Minds.
Interesting situation with Twisted Minds is GK is actually in the circle and Twisted's not. Just that little bit of a hill was enough to make it to where Twisted has to make a choice. Okay, do we wrap out or do we just go after GK? I mean, still high ground, but it's a bit scary as RBNs get some friends, and it's going to be Fury around top. Still peeks back around with 7 HP. Ballsy, but comes at a cost.
Unfortunate there. Haven down to next to nothing. Fantastico trying to land some shots from a range as we get a little bit more region-on-region action. Batulin's going to steal that one away. That'll be a point picked up by Twisted, but now Furia, they get everybody back together. They still have Haven alive somehow. He's like, please move!
Move! 1 HP, bro. Let me in.
I gotta go.
Okay, so it does look like I think that PWD got spotted and flushed out. Twisted's got goals, and it looks like they are going to have Batulins kind of sneaking around this compound.
Yeah.
Curious what the other side of Twisted's going to do here. Arena is also going to be chasing back behind Begapa. T1, they are kind of trying to figure out how to get in the circle as well right next to Begapa, so I don't know. This has gotten a bit awkward over in the west.
Yeah, I do like this from GK, though. They lose PWD in the process, but they are realizing, like, hey, we had a 3v2 against this team up on the top side. We got to clear our backs. Spiro is going to spot him out coming through, and Hiruzen going to get taken down by Batulins as he strikes at the perfect time, using that distraction from his teammates to catch Hiruzen slipping.
I mean, Twisted just did to GK what GK just did to Twisted, so just kind of usurps the position right underneath of him. Batulins closing out some doors. Spyro thinks that he hears the footsteps, and kind of deny it out.
Shoddy in hand. That is dangerous. Yeah, close the door, dip on out.
Oh,
that was a Kraken.
Bait. bait. I thought that was Spyro with that shot there.
Gets a knock and the flush as well. So Twisted Minds just getting nickeled and dimed here, trying to deal with this last player playing a little ring around the rosy through the doors, but Toolins, he just forces him to do exactly what he wants him to do. That's his third kill, 5 total for Twisted.
That was such a mind game, just looping him everywhere, closing all the doors.
Eventually I'm going to be looking through one of these.
And it just kept on running it together. That was a very smart kill, and I mean, what do you expect?
I mean, yeah. That was a Batu. That was a Batu kill right there for sure. Well, they have to find their way in right now. Fortunately, they do have that little compound that Geeke was in, so it's just on the edge of zone. Meanwhile, Akan will spot out Nurans from E Arena. All this happening on the north side while the new circle does pop. It's going to favor water treatment once again. So this T1 E Arena scrap on the north side will have to come to a head. I think T1 has to make a decision here. Do we take this fight, or do we start finding a spot in this next zone?
17 feeling good, but they have to figure out what are they going to do with this high ground. Best contesting on one side of it. T1, as you were talking about with E Arena right next to them, they could wrap around. But remember, Forest got that good position that they fought for earlier. They could get some, I guess, good sight lines on how T1 is going to wrap. Now, also, Na'Vi is going to regroup. Day trade down in water treatment. Furia, Twisted, Rock, and T5, though with Begapot, I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah, they're in a little bit of trouble here. Rock, meanwhile, oh, good shots from Nurans. Will take down Raining before he can flush out the kill. And now Type's going to have to send it back over towards Raining to get that res, get him back on his feet. End off to the south has been spotted out by Jacob. This could be T1 in a lot of trouble here.
I mean, even if you do get this done fast enough, I don't know what either one of these squads are going to deal with. Freaks, Ari look like they're trying to gatekeep out Nurans. Can you get the bounce to go your way? And he does. Gets the knockback onto Raining. Type just doesn't want to hold. That was beautifully cooked, and really the bounce on it. That's a hard throw.
I mean, look, I have been just beating it over the head as Jacob wins the 1v1 against End. Just how important it is in these lobbies to be efficient with your utility use. You have to land the grenades when you've got them dead to rights. There you go, Lyrics will get the final kill, and T1 is eliminated in 14th place.
Circle 4, it just mid-game hates T1 really bad, and it's getting to the point where you can see on the faces T1 starting to hate the mid-game as well. So E Arena, you should be able to at least get inside this next circle. T5 as well as Rock, both in vehicles roughly the same time. Begapah should be pretty close to T5. Looking downhill, look at all those nades prepped up. Oh, T5.
Oh, boy.
This is a problem, bro. You've got nowhere you can really go.
Oh, Rosseted been left behind, and he's keeping eyes on Rock, and he is causing them some problems. He is landing a lot of these shots, but he's not able to protect his teammates from Begapah. He can't do everything, and he is eating a lot of blue zone damage right now as Begapah is still 4 strong. They've got a little bit of a route inside here, but they would love to be able to take out T5 and Rock. Try to get some of those points as Twisted Minds still in this somehow, but Toolin's finding kills.
Sorry, the leaping vehicle in between the shots, just like, I got to get out of here. Begapah still continuing to punish down onto T5, but yeah, E Arena's Jacob just in the thick of everything. He's going to go down. Na'Vi in control of the southeast. Day trade with water treatment itself. Furia now gets vision onto T5 and the blue zone on top of him. Ooh.
Ranger X. Should be Ranger, the former Ranger X, as he gets spotted out by Park Pro. Somehow, is Batulin still alive? He is. He's not on the map. He's still way off in the west, in the blue zone. He's managed to pick up another kill and another point for Twisted Minds, up to 6 total, as Rock, the Santastico, puts it right in the window, and he'll spot out Beamy, but he's got to make moves here quickly, secure that point, though.
Okay, Furia right next to the thick of this with VP. It's going to be just hillside to hillside firefighting. You've got to take the firefight. It's Kraken, not going to find the angle that he wants onto it. Gizera does get the knock on a Lucarux, but it's going to be Nixie that does get the down in the flesh on a Posa.
Everything is bad right now as Furia and VP. It's just mutually assured destruction in these open fields, getting third-partied as well. Salute picking off a couple of them, and he's going to get a couple of points in the bag for DNF, and now Gizera love to be able to finish off Nixie, and he does.
All right, to the north, we've got Freaks with Begapah as well as Santastico. We've got Gizera wanting to finish out what's going on with VP here. Biza's just kind of got his back against the zone wall. Maybe can sneak over there and get the res, but it's going to be DL that gets vision onto Nixie, so I don't even know if that's doable.
Oh my goodness, King of the Mountain right now is Vegapod thought they had the high ground until somebody with the real high ground showed up. DNF doing work as they absolutely need, but no kills so far. How have they gotten no kills? I keep seeing them in the kill feed, but they're just getting stolen away. So Freaks need to be able to finish what's on their plate as Ibiza does get taken down. There you go. 1 kill now for DNF.
Okay, well, the problem is, DNF, you've got a lot of friends that are coming after you. Vegapod one side, Zantastico also getting involved. Park Pro's going to go down. Forrest is going to use this opportunity to leapfrog into the circle, but that's going to put them pretty close to Na'Vi. Bestia also is going to have to be pretty cautious as Flash does manage to get a good setup in that. Okay. That's one I think that we're going to want to replay on.
They don't call him Flash. His name is Flush now. That's it. It's been decided. Somehow, Batulins is still alive. I don't know where because he's not on the map, but he's off to the west somewhere just eating blue and collecting placement points now for Twisted Minds as we get to see the replay of what happened here with Bestia, maybe? No?
No, this is the arena push. It was harsh.
Destroyed.
I mean, hey, nerds.
What can you do? What can you do? Well, Draft King showing what he can do there, and yeah, I mean, just as soon as you cut to somebody's perspective, they're immediately getting shot at by somebody else. That's just the way it is in this lobby. As we still got a couple of people out in the blue zone. 2Heart trying to do some damage to the Freaks, but it looks like he's just going to go down. But Tulins will steal that one away too. He gets another point before eventually our hero succumbs to the blue zone.
Okay, so raid boss down in the west. Furia, that now makes it to where your backs aren't as vulnerable. Freaks, you now have to make your way into the circle. Forrest still has Baron. That looks like he was keeping an eye on Na'Vi. He's going to need to regroup or potentially destroy Na'Vi or at least get some control in there.
4 up once again, man.
Day Trade, they've still got control over water treatment, and 17 still center.
Telling you, Day Trade, or 17 rather, has had a pretty decent day. And that might be the only thing that's saving them right now, because I guarantee you if Na'Vi popped off like this, and if they find some more success here in the final game, they might be considering doing the hot drop again against 17. We'll have to see, but right now the Freaks start to come alive as they get another kill. They went from 0 to 5 in a matter of seconds, it seems like.
I mean, it was Batulins. He was holding them back all by himself over there, right?
The blue monster, man.
Yeah, it's just so scary.
It's terrifying.
Na'Vi, top of the leaderboard, 6 points ahead of Day Trade. They still need to path into the circle, and they have Baron that's back behind them. I don't know if they're going to be expecting this. They're caught up taking shots in at Scappy, and Baron's been really patient. I haven't seen him shoot in a long time.
Oh, he's got a grenade in hand, and he's coming in with the blue zone. Maybe waiting a little bit too long here, honestly, is he'll send one, he'll take the spray, take another spray, we'll find the first knock, he'll get taken down in the end though, as Forrest, oh my goodness, and DNF gonna do him a favor and they'll take out the rest of them.
I mean, it was a good idea on a play, but it's just gonna be Na'Vi on fire right now, running, charging directly into the Freaks as while this is going on, try to give you guys updates, is it's gonna be Ferris getting very close to the
slow
Freaks.
down, yeah. I got the initial, oh my goodness, there it is. And one more for good measure, good night.
I love how close they were together. That's confidence. It's like, no, I got it, bro.
All right, well, back right in as the action picks up, as Salute will find the knock on to Ferris. Sosit still bleeding out. He'll get finished off as well. DNF collapsing now onto Na'Vi as they, looks like Heaven going to go for the res onto their fallen teammate. They'll get back up to full strength and play along this ridgeline. What a grenade from Hackatory. Oh, my goodness, he put that in his pocket.
Okay, I mean, it was a disadvantaged fight, but they're finding opportunities. Deal going to be high ground looking in, is going to spot out Hackatory. So now what are you going to do, Freaks? This is definitely slowed down the pacing. You can see the Freaks already had eyes and getting control over the West.
Oh, no!
Stayed. Going to tell Freaks to stay exactly where they are.
Utility. And Na'Vi exercising it in spades, but unfortunately at the end of the day, DNF gets everybody back on their feet. Na'Vi goes out just before the final 3 as we have Day Trade and 17 on the low ground.
All right, Day Trade, they've got the man advantage down here. 17 is going to retreat back into the west. So Freaks did get their numbers back up strong. They're going to have high ground looking down into this one. So Day Trade, they have roughly how the lay of the land inside the warehouse is going to stack, but they haven't quite figured it out yet. They haven't got the knock to unlock what they want to do.
Freaks just cleaning up their high ground position, making sure that nobody's going to bite them in the back. No snakes hiding in the grass. That is just diligent play on their part as we see Day Trade slowly making their way through the smokes.
Oh, these are some pretty sneaky angles for 17. So if anything, this is just going to surrender more of the circle to the Freaks the longer this goes on. So 17 just kind of exploding everything around them.
A little overcooked there, Shawu.
I mean, you never know. Somebody could have been on top of the crate, right?
Danger. And no, he comes at the perfect time. Tigger catches him while he's not peeking. Lil Ghost will trade it out, but will get traded himself. And now Day Trade will win that fight. They'll try to get the res on before Freaks get good position, but they're going to spot out Belmoth from range, and Deal will get another knock. 564 damage for him.
Okay, now what are you going to do, Day Trade? You do have the center dot. Thanadol is on the outskirts of the building itself, though. Freaks control everything else. Heaven in heaven, Guman in their face, Deal now coming in for reinforcements, and Salute trying to get a very southern angle, really containing what Thanadol is trying to do. But Thanadol, as well as Tigger, managed to get some damage back. Salute goes down.
That's a big knock. Salute was that low flanking side position, and he has been taken down, but Heaven has the high ground, and that'll find Thanadol as now Flash gotta get the res onto Belmoth, so Tigger needs to be able to hold this entire team at bay. Fortunately, he's got enough smokes left in his pocket to slow them down.
Okay, so with this, we are now seeing Salute flushed out and using the blue zone nade. So utility being burnt there. Belmoth has to defend up for his squad. He was holding the lower section for Thanadol, but Deal is going to specifically set up the line into the west. Circle pops, and it is still going to be center control for Day Trade, but I feel like territory control goes to the Freaks.
It does, but that dot going to finish right inside that warehouse, and you got to wonder, at some point, Heaven might have to come down because Day Trade fully aware that he is there now, so they're not going to get caught slipping to him again. They're just going to go ahead and play from inside those warehouse, and I think Heaven realizing it now. Yeah, come down, rejoin the rest of the boys, push in as three, as Deal and Guman going to pull in right as Belmoth leaves that low ground and enters into that other warehouse.
So this is pretty much ceding circle control to Freaks. This is Day Trade saying, okay, we got you. We know the fact that you've got the high ground. We'll let you have it. We want center. But that means the fact that all of this hinges around what's going on inside that warehouse whenever we get to that stage. And Freaks get to set whatever pace they want. And at 12 kills, it's feeling pretty good. Day Trade 9, though, this is going to be a very strong firefight.
Absolutely. Not a lot of utility, offensive utility left. Only one grenade between the two teams. Day Trade has 7 smokes, and if
Day Trade has positions as well.
When it gets down to brass tacks in the end game, they can slow things down and create a problem for DNF. But the problem that they have right now is that they don't have any way to force them to funnel into one direction. So all they can do really is smoke off the entrances maybe and try to see if they can catch Freaks coming through the doors, and that's exactly what they're doing.
This is a very interesting innovation from Day Trade as they are slowing down the pace. This is a squad that's mostly known for really pushing the pace. Now they're trying to calm it back down.
This is
try
heady
to settle in, make sure the fact that they can. I love that they also have Belmoth still in the east, so that way nobody can wrap in. And if they do try to circle in, most notably Guman comes around the angle where Flash is at, Belmoth can just pounce.
Look at this, Belmoth. Is that a bait deployable shield? I think it might be. I think it might be. He's got the deployable shield just off to the side, so if anybody comes in and just starts spraying it, he can peek from a different angle. I'm going to give him, maybe I'm giving him more credit than he's due, but I'm going to give it to him. Tigger has got one as well. We'll see how they decide to place these things. Those deployable covers could have a big impact on how DNF decides to push into this warehouse.
So the center dot is right along the wall. And we could have an interesting situation where instead of actually pushing the warehouse, Freaks might opt into just playing right along that wall instead and seeing if maybe they push this into a med battle, because really pushing the warehouse doesn't feel that good.
It doesn't feel great with not with no offensive utility. I mean, all they've got is 3 Molotovs, 3 flashbangs. It's just not enough stuff there really to dig these guys out the way you would like to, especially given how many angles they can be hiding from here, and you're down to just 3. So we'll see how they decide to do it, but it's definitely going to be slow.
Human now very close to dot, and Belmoth has surrendered the east, which is good because everybody is playing in the west for the Freaks now. Heaven also looks like he's still playing around this outer wall. He feels like he thinks that things are going to end over here. There is that doorway. Smokes are now starting to dissipate. There's not a lot of options. Human holding this angle.
I think that's a good spray. Doesn't get him though. I think the option that Freaks might have here, just have somebody play the outside wall, and then just give them all your heals, and and then when it turns into a heal battle, have the other 2 guys push in and get these guys while the blue zone is on top of them. But it's coming to a head now as Human will get the first shit. And that is worth noting. He has got that backpack on.
So, shotgun,
it doesn't
not
hit.
Gonna come up. Tigger fights his way through. They've managed to breach
Bro,
the
I'm awake.
outside.
Struggling, but I'm awake.
More of this do you want? Heaven does get the knock on Tigger. Not just jumping out.
Good job.
Freaks are denied.
Very well played by Daytrade. It was always going to be a tough end game, but those first knocks coming aggressive and coming to life at the end there, beautifully done by Daytrade, as they secure themselves the final win here of day number 1. And Freaks are just left to wonder what could have been.
Yeah, I mean, at least in the late game, Freaks, that's something that could have happened a couple of times earlier today.
I mean, look, they had a heck of a game there in the final game. I think they ended up with 11 kills. That was desperately needed points, and that was obviously a reversing course from what they had been putting out here so far today. So still, despite the fact they don't get the win, huge game.
Your ass up.
Daytrade is just very strong today.
I don't want to wake up, actually. I want to take a nap.
Really stamped in and put in a good firefight at the tail end of today. So let's go ahead, get everything prepped up for tomorrow.
The lead fragger
to shape up tomorrow.
Refreshing to see Na'Vi.
Total leaderboard. Daytrade is in the lead. 59 points. Good day for them. Top 16 advance. So tomorrow, 8 new teams to join. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. So a lot of grind is they're going to have to figure out where they're going to be when they have one more day of play. 6 games down. Rock excited to see him at 34. Virtus Pro, another big come up after what we saw in PGS 7 to see them on the left side of the leaderboard. It's been a good day for teams who are maybe underdogs coming into this a little bit.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Group C tomorrow, as we'll have them coming into the fold, and tomorrow, of course, we start Erangel, we got Tango, we got Rondo, we got Miramar for the last.
Seems familiar.
Yeah, it's very familiar, in fact. All right, well, that is how the games are going to shape up tomorrow. That's Groups B and C. So very exciting stuff. A good, I was about to say even day for our first group stage day for PGS 8.
With the exception of, I think, the sort of Furia Bestia situation over on the bottom with not very much.
Yeah.
Most of the other teams have left themselves in a good position to fight their way back up.
All right, well, that does it for day number 1 of the groups. A huge thank you to everybody making this possible as well. First and foremost, we have Crafton as well as Heroes Esports making everything happen right now.
And if you like stats like I like stats, check out op.gg where you can overpower your game.
Yeah, definitely. I'll love to go and check that out. We got Aurus as well, our official PC partner, up on the stage.
And of course, AMD, our official CPU partner, making sure you have the power.
Next up, we've got ourselves Zowie, our official monitor, partner once again up on the stage.
And a thank you to
All right, this is it for me for now. Might be back streaming later this evening. If Paul, you want to do Bellwright, we can schedule a Bellwright game this evening if you want to. It's up to you. Just let me know. And
I honestly, it was just refreshing to see.
just need to know beforehand, that way I can not, I won't schedule anything else. So, but if you want to play Bellwright, let me know. If not, then I don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe pubs or something. I don't know. Just depends. Just depends on if you let me know or not. Bish. All right. Bye.